Hello, folks. The Celtic Nerd here, along with SkullDuggery Gaming.
Hello, and I'm SkullDuggery, and I'm also here with the Celtic Nerd. I thought I might as well do mine for my channel as well.
Fair enough. Um, so, welcome to the first episode. I guess we could call these.
Yeah, kind of like a semi-podcast thing, but it's
Yeah.
it's you know.
We're still debating on the name, but at the moment, the placeholder name will be SideChat because in honor of the fact that we're both gamers and side quests are very common in video games
Indeed,
and
indeed.
all type of gaming. In all fairness,
Mm.
well, with the exception of sports games and whatnot.
So, yeah, and then I suppose like again like Call of Duty and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Like there's Halo. Um, though apparently Infinite has side quests, from what I
it
understand.
does. It does.
Hmm.
It's a very open world game. Like, but
Uh,
either way, the point is,
yeah,
like just honoring the fact that we're both gamers.
indeed, indeed.
Now,
Um,
you're going to be looking at footage from Alien Fireteam Elite. However, that is not what we're going to be talking about today.
no, no, no. But it's the gameplay is very thematic to what we're going to be talking about.
Exactly. True side chat. We are going to be talking about like some of our nerdiest obsessions.
Oh, hell yeah.
We're starting off with a moderately simple sized franchise.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. It's a very little known franchise. It's very obscure. I don't know if anyone would have heard of it.
well,
But
no, I was referring in terms of the length of the other franchise that we've discussed, going to be talking about. Now,
oh yeah.
technically, one of the shows that we're going to be talking about at some point is only getting its second season, possibly next year. So
Yeah.
that is technically the smallest, but I have so much to say on that one since
I
I
am
read the
curious about
source
it myself,
material.
yeah. I'm actually just
Um,
thinking on that subject actually as well, we're on that part of it with the Netflix one. Do you want will we probably talk about the revamped Netflix animated version they're bringing out as well, or would you rather?
we'll discuss
Yeah,
later
yeah,
on.
yeah.
But anyway, so basically, we're going to be just talking about like as you can tell, like just stuff that we are personally obsessed with. It's all going to be like nerdy shit. At the moment, it's mainly going to be like movies with then like two shows. But who knows? We might expand it into some video games and whatnot.
Hmm.
This will, but yeah, no, it's we have no idea how long these videos are going to be because we're just going to be talking about our thoughts of uh, the movies or the show, and
Mhm.
then like we may talk about like obscure knowledge and lore from comics, books, and such, if there is expanded lore on the subject.
Yeah. And again, like the things we discussed, they'll vary. It's kind of like when we think we have something like interesting to say regarding these types of subjects, we'll probably make another edition kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, there a caveat to add is definitely going to be we are not experts. I cannot stress this enough. We are not experts of the topics we're going to be talking about. So if we get some lore wrong on these shows and whatnot, feel free to like correct us.
Yeah. See, my thoughts on that kind of stuff is like, let's say, for example, we'll use Halo as an example.
Yeah.
Like, if we were talking about like the Halo games from one all the way to Halo Infinite, like I would probably ignore the external source material because my thoughts on that is like, if you want people to understand the story, you better have all the information in the story then, like in the game. Like that's what Halo
Mhm.
Five's issue was. Like Halo
Yeah,
5
and
left out
Infinite, in my
very
opinion.
important. Yeah. Oh real? Oh yeah, Infinite
Yeah.
they kind of semi retcon it, don't they?
No, well, no.
Or reboot it.
Like Halo 5 ends with Cortana gaining control of all the AI things, and
Yeah.
then she fucks off, or at least no, sorry. It sort of alludes to a new type of war beginning between like with the Covenant and well, basically all the organic races setting up some kind of like little rebellion against Cortana and the AI, but then like at the start of Halo Reach, it's over and you have a whole new AI companion to assist you
Yeah, like the backlash for Guardians from the fans was like it was so bad that they basically just did a complete 180 and kind of soft rebooted.
Like, but the thing is, they acknowledge like this shit happened, and so and you have to read novels to find out like the full story. Like, no, you can't do that in video games. Like, you can get
No.
away with like having some obscure not books, but like
Yeah,
if you're doing follow ups to a game,
you
you
don't do that.
yeah, you better have
Yeah.
like like, you know, the stuff going on. Like, imagine if they did that with Halo. Like, so imagine if they did with Halo 3. Like, at the end of Halo 2, you're like finishing this fight or finishing the fight, whatever the iconic line is, and
Yeah.
then Halo 3 is skipping the whole, you know, the splitting of the Covenant, and we're immediately fighting alongside elites against the brutes. Imagine that.
Yeah.
No, you'd be like,
It's
wait, why are we fighting side by side with the elites now? Like, because you don't, you know, you get a part of the schism that is forming obviously in Halo 2, but like you don't, the schism fully doesn't happen until what is it, like halfway through Halo 3.
mm.
um but yeah, like it'll be just weird. Anyway,
Yeah,
back to today's topic though.
indeed.
So like as we saw there, like for like I haven't read the Halo novels.
I think I've only read The Fall of Reach, which is a good book actually. I would recommend it. Like that actually because we're talking about like releasing books to coincide with games. The Fall of Reach was done right because that was an optional thing for people to read when the first game came out. It like you didn't need to know what happened in that book to understand what happened in the first Halo game. So yeah,
Yeah.
just that's how you do it. Anyway, yeah.
So what we're going to be talking about is Alien.
Yes, my favorite. You know how people say, you know, they have like a comfort show or a comfort movie. Bizarrely enough, Alien is my comfort movie
Mm.
because
So
just the it's yeah.
so it's a movie that you would regularly rewatch. It's safe to say, like every
Yeah,
year.
but not just every year. Like let's say like every every few weeks. Like I'll just because I do. I it's Alien because I think because Alien was one like it was my first proper horror movie. You know, like I was 13 when I first watched it, but I got basically I watched the movie Spaceballs, which is a great comedy. I recommend people watch it. It's fucking hilarious. Mel Brooks. But there's a scene in the film where they parody, you know, the chestburster scene from Alien.
Mm.
And I saw that scene, laughed my arse off, and of course, 13-year-old me, dumbass, thinking, well, I mean, that wasn't so bad. If I'm okay with this, I'm pretty sure I can actually survive the actual movie. That was my mom's reaction. But no, yeah. So
So your mom was
that's
like, "Oh, just you wait."
that was pretty much it. And oh, I'll explain in a minute what she did. But so yeah, so that I think that same week we went to GameStop because this was back when they sold DVDs and CDs as well as games. Like that's how old I am. And got the special edition 2 discs. So it came with the theatrical and the director's cut, which we'll be covering the director's cut in this discussion. But yeah, got it, watched it, and like from start to finish, like I was hiding behind. Like my mom was next to me, but I was hiding behind a cushion the entire time. Like even at the start of the movie, when fuck all happens, it's just the atmosphere is so intense. And I'm like, no, I don't want to see. I don't want to know what happens. But yeah, no. It's fucking Alien is a movie I just will always love. Even and Aliens as well, I think is just another fantastic movie. We're talking about Alien, but I just wanted to point that out. But yeah. So it's just everything about that movie, from the atmosphere to the aesthetics, which as you can see in the footage for Fireteam, they get right as well. Like
Yeah.
it's and then Alien Isolation as well, which is another game I love to play. Like as people will see if they watch my playthrough of it, like I nerd out a lot during that playthrough, especially in the earlier videos, because it's just but then the alien arrives, then I'm more so silently shitting myself. Oh yeah, no, that game on hard mode, because the alien learns, man. It learns. The AI is amazing. And oh, for fuck's sake, because IGN gave it a fucking 5 out of 10 or 5, whatever they rank it, because the AI was too smart.
I know they typically do out of 5. And folks, if I start to sound like I'm getting quieter again, it is because for some reason the issue that I was having is back, and I have a sneaking suspicion it is now because I'm using Google.
Oh no. Yeah.
We had some technical difficulties when we were meeting up, like start joining like this call to talk about this, and for some reason now the issue is back, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh my god, no.
Yeah. Discord kind of fucked us over in that regard. But it's yeah, it's complete horseshit. Um,
So yeah,
but,
I just don't understand why Google is fucking with my mic sentence.
ugh. I think again because I'm seeing because I have OBS open as well, and I'm seeing like on your audio it doesn't seem to be affecting, like you still go into the yellow when you're talking and when you're a little bit quiet. So maybe I can try and adjust it anyway on my end as well. But it's yeah, Google's kind of annoying with that kind of stuff. We say using a Google chat thing for the first time to do this.
Yeah,
Uh,
normally we wouldn't, but
yeah.
unfortunately we are sort of like we sort of had to.
Yeah, because Discord just kept disconnecting us. It was fucking weird.
Yeah.
Hopefully that won't happen the next time we do this, because Discord's been pretty good to us actually the last
Oh
while.
yeah.
Uh,
Um. Another thing is there will be actually, you know, I'm not even going to bother saying. I was about to talk as if this was a stream, but I was about like, well, there's not going to be a Ludo chat this week, folks. But no, like no, because like this video is going to be scheduled to go live on a Tuesday, which normally I'll do the Ludo chat on the Monday, so
yeah,
there is no point.
yeah, especially
Because
because I have no, I couldn't get any footage. We had for reasons I was unable to get footage, but we'll hopefully be back next week.
yeah, so yeah, let's get on with the gameplay. So I'm just going to hit play on my end.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Like I'm like on my end, like we're already we're on the first mission.
oh,
like,
okay.
yeah,
I pause on the loading screen,
oh yeah, no, that's
to try
fine.
and get as much time of out of the footage as I can.
No, that's fine because again, I have VLC. I didn't. I'll have to use this more often for what we're doing. I recommend it
Mm.
as well. It'll be easier for this, but you can actually make a playlist of videos, what videos you want to play back to back
Mm.
when it's recording. So I have some. If anyone watching this has watched any of my Alien Isolation footage, you'll recognize the footage as being from like my previous two
Mm.
episodes, but it's the unedited version, obviously. But yeah, no,
Also, I only just noticed also now, they actually refer to this game like this game's title is actually Aliens Fireteam Elite. I generally refer to it as Alien Fireteam Elite.
oh okay,
But you know, it's actually aliens, which I think that's more due to the fact that
there's more than one.
like in the second movie.
Yeah, yeah. I see. Because I forgot because again, what you guys are looking at. This is my first time playing the game. Celtic recommended that we play this for the footage. I'm glad he did. I loved every second of it. It's a fun game to play with friends. I would say I'm going to keep playing it a lot more. It is
Mm.
genuinely fun, but yeah, we're both technically it's not really because you beat the game in a week.
Yeah, it's not a terribly long game. Now, mind you, I beat it in a week on casual because I was trying to get the recon class,
Yeah,
which
which it is a good class.
oh yeah, it came in super handy, but like
Absolutely.
in all fairness, it's not so overpowered that, in my opinion, it justifies needing to beat the goddamn fucking game once to get.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like if you want to have like fancy unlockables after you beat a game, like they bet like I will say like it has the pup, which is quite useful, the Prometheus ball thing. But yeah, it's one of those things where because like if you there were some games I can't remember which ones, but like back in the PS2 era and stuff like that, like if you beat a game, like you unlock like unlimited ammo and shit like that, you know.
Yeah,
Like give us stuff like that. That'd be kick ass. Or like just cool armor and visual skins and stuff like that.
like the only thing that this like the pup really was super powerful against was the alien prowler. Like these guys would hide,
Yeah.
you know, somewhere to jump out at you. They're essentially just the jump scare alien.
Yeah, yeah. They come in. So far, I've seen them in two different designs. There's they have like the head ridges, like you see in Aliens, and then for the one that we just saw, you'll see it in my footage there, because as you brought up the Prowler, a Prowler actually jumped out. Um, It looks like Big Chap from the first movie,
Yeah, it's
which
well, no, that's the alien drone.
no,
There,
there was the bigger ones as well that had the smooth cranium as well. A few of them did. I might be wrong actually. I'll have to go back
yeah,
and
it's the
yeah.
alien stalker. Sorry, I keep calling them stalkers. It's the alien prowler that would hide
Mm,
and then jump out at you. But
yeah.
then it's the alien drone that will operate in a similar fashion, but the drone will quickly run away when it feels like it's in danger to then
Yes,
attack
that's
you
it.
again.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
It's a good game, and I think there's a good variety of aliens. So far. And again, I'm just going to say we'll get into talking about the movie in a second because again we're tangent. But while we're still on the subject of aliens, just like with Alien Isolation, it was made with love because like okay maybe the shitty stuff they did when they were selling it aside, like the sound design and everything, like the
oh
alien
yeah,
screeches, the sounds of the pulse rifles, like the only thing, and I bring it up in early on in our gameplay footage. For God's sake, when they're making an aliens game, can they please give the pulse rifles 99 ammo because that's canonically how much they have. It's not 60, it's not 50, it's
yeah.
90 fucking 9.
And funny enough, there's going to be a moment where I'm really zooming in now. For my, if you're watching this video for my channel, there will be a moment where I get close up to my gun because we talk about the details in this game, like, and as like there's a lot of love done, like the sound effects and all that is really well made, but then there are moments where like there's this incredible detail where the guns display is like really fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Like the LED no, weapon, sorry, your bullet count display really shines. Like it actually goes down properly as you're
Yeah.
firing. And the funny thing is, this is a third person. As you can see, folks, this is a third person's perspective game. I'm using a sniper rifle, and yet if I aim down the sight, I don't look through the scope. I look at this. I'm still over my shoulder, like right there. Like if you're again, if you're watching my videos, you'll just see me
Yeah.
like aim down the sight.
Which is an odd thing to do,
Yeah,
an
with a
odd
sniper
choice.
rifle.
Yeah, because even like I know that this game came out before that, but like when you look at a game like Helldivers 2, like when you're using a sniper, like it actually goes down into the scope,
Well,
like
the thing is,
regardless of.
even like even older games than this do that.
Oh
Like
really?
Division. Yeah, the Division allows you to
Oh,
like look through the scope as well. Like,
regardless.
so
Okay.
yeah. Now it's funny. Now we're bringing it up because it is a bit of a fault with this game because, for one, that is a really good detail to have on a gun,
Mm.
but then they drop the ball massively on another detail. There's a bunch of now on this ship that brings your characters to this like station to this planet. There's a bunch of people that you have to talk to, especially
Hmm.
as you collect intel and the lore behind like what happened. But none of those characters' lips will move when you're talking to them. Everyone is just a telepath, basically. And I'm like, so they clearly paid a budget to like in other areas for good detail, but then they really dropped the ball on editing simple lip animation. It didn't. I'm not saying it had to be like this is a double A game. It's definitely not a triple A game,
No.
but for a double A game, I at least expect some level of lip movement, especially in modern times.
Yeah. It's
Um,
it, it, it's one of those things where I think if they had advertised it for what it actually was, I think the backlash against it probably wouldn't have been as
Yeah,
bad.
there like again there was
But
a load of there was a fair amount of microtransactions, like because like you could spend them to get like you could use real life money to get like challenge cards and
mm,
whatnot, but then they were like, okay, yeah, no, we need to ban that. Now you can just get oh, here's the scene now where I noticed my gun's ammo count actually changing.
yeah, on my end, we're defending the stairs.
Yeah, so but anyway, back to actual Alien now.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay, so that's that tangent over.
So one thing I really liked about the opening movie, like, because again, it sets the tone really, really fucking well,
Oh,
and there
absolutely.
there is not even a big title card for the movie. Actually, no,
Yeah.
we're talking about the director's cut. So actually, I want to even go back even. Let's rewind even further back
Oh,
before,
okay.
like, I really love the moment when Ridley Scott is talking to the audience,
Yeah,
and
it's a nice thing. I know that I think with the exception of I think Alien 3, I think for all those versions of the directors of the special editions, I think they all had that opening.
I
Uh,
don't know. I don't think Aliens had that.
no, Aliens does. I have James Cameron has an opening. The version I gave you, it was because it was already the director's cut, so they didn't have the opening on that one. But
Ah,
the for the Blu-ray I have, it's the same version as the Alien version of Alien I gave you. So there is an opening with James Cameron, I think. But yeah, I think the only one that doesn't do it is Alien 3 because, as many people out there will know, David Fincher fucking hates that movie and doesn't include it in his filmography. And honestly, I don't blame him. We'll get into that eventually.
yeah,
But yeah,
um, but the reason why I like this, what like with the Ridley Scott is like now because like there is another infamous there's an infamous set of sorry there's a trilogy of movies that got where the creator got a lot of backlash for editing and adding changing some scenes because of the advent of newer technology.
mm,
Now, unfortunately, when he talked about these things, that director slash creator only ever talked about them in the form of like in interviews.
mm.
He didn't do it like he didn't like. And how many people would have actually watched those fucking interviews? Like people would have bought like people. Most people would just went in buying the DVDs and then discovering the changes, outright.
Yeah. Well, I will say because I know who you're talking about, and I think I
Yeah.
know the films you're going on about. Because I will say, didn't do it for the DVDs, but if you bought the 1997 VHS versions, which were the very first special editions of those films, if you can't guess what we say what we're talking about, just for context, we're if people can't tell, we're talking about Star Wars,
Yeah.
the original trilogy. But yeah, if you did get the 1997 special edition VHS, which I had pan and scan. Sadly, I didn't know you had widescreen. But no, there is a before each movie started, there was like a short documentary kind of going over. Oh yeah, so here's the changes I made. Here's why I wanted to make those
Okay.
changes. But yeah, I think if the DVDs had that same documentary at the start of at the start of each film, I think it would have gone down better. But as it stands, as a lot of people know, especially for the Blu-ray versions, especially the changes that were made to those films were because unlike with the director's cut of Alien, like Ridley Scott even says in the start of that thing, like he still thinks the original is pretty much just perfect, and he's right. It's the theatrical release of Alien is like from start to finish just a perfect film. It's well paced, acting's great, the scenes are great,
Hmm.
and but he felt like for the director's cut, there's some scenes he wanted to because with DVDs he wanted to bring it back in, be like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, so this is see what you guys think. And there's some scenes I think I really wish he had kept in. One scene I think he should have left out. We'll get into that as we get further into the discussion of the film. But yeah, it's one of those things where like especially for directors cuts, they need to do that a lot more often. Unless it's Lord of the Rings, because everyone knows the extended edition is perfect and no one can ever
Oh
change
yeah.
say otherwise.
Yeah. Like there are like again like in terms of like I I will always defend. I've always defended the idea of like a creator like George Lucas, like if because again like me and my family always watched like whenever we got even a hint of an interview that he was doing, we watched it. Like and he was always vocal about if he had like the newer technology he would do certain things differently.
Hmm.
And so like I was always mentally prepared for any kind of changes
Yeah.
whenever now I did not have these special VHS changes that you had.
Hmm.
I had even older ones, I guess, because they had no actual added. They had nothing that was on the DVDs.
Yeah.
So like I must have had like very old ones because like the next set of the movies that I had was DVDs.
because the VHSs that I got, they were released to in anticipation for the Phantom Menace because it was the first versions of the film that featured Coruscant at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Okay, yeah, no, I didn't have them.
Mm. So
So,
so yeah, it was the but baby me, well, infant me as well, like because I was trying to, I didn't understand at the time it was special edition, so I was trying to figure out, wait, if these movies were made, if this movie was made in the 80s and I'm seeing Coruscant now, did George Lucas plan ahead with all this? And then no, as I got older, I was, oh no, he added that in after the fact. Okay.
yeah.
Uh,
But again, like I've always like in all fairness, like if a person was limited by the technology that they had and they were never truly satisfied, like it's their creation. It's like how game developers like will patch things like nowadays, like they have the technology to do it.
Yeah, I think I can agree to a extent. Like again, I will always think that some of the changes. We'll get back into Alien in a minute because we're still on this, but I will just to clarify with George Lucas stuff. I will always think that some of the changes made to the original trilogy were for the better. Like again, the adding the windows to Cloud City, giving us
Mm.
the what's the name of the abominable snowman in that as well, like giving
Oh,
us a better
Wampa.
the Wampa, like letting us get a better view of that. Like
Like
a lot of the
I
more
enjoyed seeing Java with interaction with Han. Now I'd
yeah,
say that one. I think that is the worst. Like in my opinion, that is one of the worst of the changes visually because,
the
like,
CGI just doesn't
yeah,
match with
yeah.
the yeah.
But in all fairness, it's hard to edit a scene like that, like because like obviously the actors have aged, like Harrison Ford aged up before, by the time the CGI caught up.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
unfortunately, he
They couldn't really do much. Yeah.
yeah. So if they're like, okay, we want to add Jabba, but unfortunately, it's gonna look shit.
Yeah, even the 1990s VHS, like it was 90s CGI, so I suppose you could argue it kind of fit, but it was still like looking back on it now, I'm
It's
like it's still out
glaring.
of place. Yeah,
Yeah, but
the
again, it's a fun scene. Like, and I like to see Han like still trying to be cocky and suave to the
yeah,
person he
yeah.
owes so much money to. Who's like who literally just sent a hitman, a bounty hunter. Like
Uh,
he's like, okay, this guy just sent a bounty hunter. Now it was Greedo and he survived, obviously. But like to then be like, hey, Jabba, like the fact that
what the
he's
fuck?
yeah, no, he's still so casual with like, and again that adds to the Han. Now I understand that because of the changes that they made after the original filming of New Hope, that Jabba was going to be a much more of an alien creature.
Yeah, yeah,
So there is that awkward line, Jabba, you're a wonderful human being.
yeah.
So
Even as a kid, that confused me.
yeah, but again, it's a clear moment of when like after the film and when they were like, okay, it's finally about time for us to. He probably didn't change Jabba's appearance until maybe even just before Return of the Jedi. He was probably like Return of the Jedi. You know what? We need a scene as like drastic as the cantina scene. So let's make Jabba like a giant slug instead of a human.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
so like again, like some of the like again, like a lot of the changes are really decent. But again, fans, it's the whole pedestal. Like fans, like nostalgia fans, put the original trilogy on such a high pedestal. Any level of change to them, for good or bad, was going to be treated as bad anyway, like blasphemous.
yeah, I will say there is some like some of the changes weren't good. I'll attest to that. Like
Oh
so,
yeah,
there
yeah,
was some
like
change where you're like, why the fuck did you put this here?
like the
Um,
whole Greedo
yeah,
shooting.
where Han dislocates his neck to dodge the bullets. Anyway, we're getting off.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We'll get to that. We'll get back to Star Wars when we actually get to the Star Wars movie. Back
Oh
to
yeah,
Alien.
we've got yeah, yeah.
Anyway, my point was I really liked the fact that like Ridley Scott like has like again for the DVDs has a moment of just being like, okay, guys, here's this is not going to be the same Alien that you probably seen before.
Yeah, yeah, and he was right. Like some of the scenes added in, I thought were really well. Like having rewatched it just there, because I when I'm rewatching Alien, I primarily just watch the theatrical release, but I do like watching the director's cut now and then.
Mm.
And yeah, the scenes he added in, I think some of them do add a lot. Like, and we'll get again as
Yeah.
we get into them, we'll get into them as we go.
So
But
back,
yeah,
so yeah, fast forward back to the title screen. I
oh
love how we don't even have like a full proper title screen. Like like it's the focus is on the planet that we're
hmm
crossing over, and then also the name, like the actors that are in the movie,
yep,
and then
it's
at the just at the top of the screen, something that you may not even fucking notice,
well,
the
yeah.
word alien is slowly being spelt out.
Yeah, and it's such a well thought out, and because again the trailer for Alien, you know, that very famous kind of that reveals fucking nothing about the film, and it does the exact same thing. Like it just appears as it does from the
Yeah,
film, and it lets it sink in for the audience.
you might not even notice it. Like I didn't. I
Yeah,
only know. I only noticed it for the first time today, rewatching it.
you're fuck off, really.
Yeah, I only noticed it now today.
Oh, but it is. It's and then because of course you got the late great Jerry Goldsmith soundtrack as well, like just that like very the
It's
violins and the
it's so
wailing.
quiet. Yeah, it's so quiet
It
as
is.
well.
An interesting thing with that actually, that wasn't Jerry Goldsmith's original submission for the opening. They actually, when we get to Alien Covenant, for the opening title sequence of Alien Covenant, that's the version they use
Really?
for yeah. And the reason why it was changed to the one in that we get in the actual film is Ridley Scott felt that the first version that Jerry Goldsmith wrote it sounded too hopeful, and he was right. For a film like Alien, it did sound a bit too kind of because he also does the soundtrack to that. It felt a bit too Star Trek,
Yeah,
if that makes
I
sense.
feel like hopeful better, like the whole idea of a song being like an opening being sorry, giving the sense of hope. I think that fits more with Prometheus and Covenant because it involves like colonists and
Yeah,
whatnot.
and it's they're not really and it's before Alien, so it's kind of like because Prometheus was meant to be the exploration of the origin of humanity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the music had to kind of fit that, but with Alien, it's literally it's generally just more so a these people are fucked
But
basically.
I just love how eerily quiet the intro is.
Mm. It's
Um,
it's it's amazing. Yeah, I will say actually the wailing sound that's used for the opening titles as well. Keep that in mind as we discuss the director's cut because I didn't notice this until I actually the second time I watched the director's cut this year, which was maybe I think back in April. It's so good. I'll bring it up when we get there. But yes, it's a remarkable opening title sequence, and again, just so iconic to the point where like so many
yeah.
other, because again, Alien is kind of the catalyst for so many other
Oh
sci-fi
yeah.
horror movies. Like so many people, like have you ever seen the movie Event Horizon?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the interior of the main character's ship is pretty much just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna borrow the aesthetics of Alien from the Nostromo.
Mm.
And even like a lot of characters, especially like main heroines in sci-fi, like a lot of it, like you could tell like Ripley is kind of
Yeah.
the main kind of
All right.
base
I
one.
want to get to that as well. Okay.
Hmm.
So let's discuss let's discuss Ripley real quick.
Oh yeah,
Now I know she doesn't like she has her big moment in Aliens. I'm well aware of that.
oh yeah,
But at the same time, you know what I got really tired of? Now, this was mostly from Disney.
yeah.
And okay, it was done by Warner Brothers when it came to Wonder Woman. But one of the things that always really bothered me was when one of them would be like, first big female, lead heroine and all
Oh
that.
god,
And
yeah, that
I'm
was
sitting there like, hold on, Xena, warrior fucking princess, Buffy, the vampire slayer,
yeah. Do you remember that? That
Ripley
was
from Alien,
That's what happened. I
and
remember that. That was Jennifer Lawrence, didn't she come out? Oh yeah, because it was such a great honor to do the Hunger Games because at that point there hadn't really been any female action heroes, and everyone just unanimously said Ripley and Sarah Connor.
sorry, I forgot about Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor, and then there's also in terms of now if we're going to talk about real like also real big like action like there's a lot of fighting and whatnot like gunplay. Then you have the woman from fucking Underworld.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, okay, it's hilarious because like even when her love interest becomes like the fucking hybrid, she is still the fucking star.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And
It was.
like it's just hilarious.
It's a God. I haven't thought about those. I haven't thought about those movies in a while. They were
I
fun.
have
They
them
were
on
fun.
DVD.
Ah, they're fun.
Oh, we you know what, we should add them to the list of what we'll cover on side quest.
I'm happy that if we're doing that. We'll
Sorry,
have to
side
do
chat.
Resident Evil.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Resident fucking Evil as well.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you could argue Alice does kind of, especially in the later films, she does kind of fall into the realm of the Mary Sue. But at that
Yeah.
point, the movies are so
But
ridiculous
the
that
thing
they
is though,
acknowledge this.
but the thing
Like
is though,
it's,
like early on, like even before you get into the super ridiculousness, they already wasn't it not in this second? No, it was in the second or the third movie where they laid down the groundwork that she is like with the whole clone genetically engineered. So
oh yeah,
she
that's
is like she is technically engineered to be perfect. So it actually, in a weird way, it covers the Mary Sue problem because she's
yeah.
engineered to be perfect.
Yeah, I think because the Resident Evil movies are they're dumb fun, so you can kind of forget it.
Yeah,
Like it's not trying to be
they
this
are.
big serious thing.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're terrible Resident Evil movies,
Oh God,
but
yeah.
they are good action movies.
I would attest to that. Yeah, like I would
like
say the first one is still I would say by far the best one.
actually, yeah, I think the first one is very much like it is a good. That and maybe the second one are good, like Resident Evil. Now they're not based on any of the games, obviously.
Hmm.
They have a whole different plot. I think they are still good Resident Evil movies because they touch on like the fact that it's supposed to be like a dark horror type thing with some action.
Yeah,
But then obviously when you get to the third one,
it just gets they just kind of they just
we're an
decided
action
well,
movie.
we're gonna take all the cocaine for this one.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah. So like Ripley's like yeah, Ripley. Oh God.
oh yeah,
So
she's kind of the yeah she should I think whenever someone's writing like a story and they're trying to look for an example like good strong like a good female protagonist always look to Ripley, Sarah Connor. We'll get to it when we get to Stargate, but Amanda Tapping, who played Samantha Carter in Stargate, just such some again just some fantastic writing for these
yeah,
characters.
you know what?
And Ripley.
I Here's another strong female character. Now, she's not in movie. She's in a
Hmm,
book, and I will stand by this, despite the fact that I have issues with the author,
hmm,
in terms of their own personal views.
hmm.
Hermione fucking Granger.
Yeah,
Like now, again, I would love to add Annabeth from Percy Jackson, but I'm not sure when those books came out. Like now, folks, we're clearly trying to refer to like older, like we're talking like pre 2000s female leads. Now
yeah,
I know I
because
understand when I say Hermione Granger, people are probably going to be like, "Oh, but Harry's is the star." No, the Golden Trio are a joint star.
I would argue that it is kind of that kind of writing trope where yeah, Harry is the main character, but they still have the
They have two other leads.
which again, which kind of brings us back in. That's what Alien does perfectly as well. While yeah, you could argue Ripley is the protagonist of the series. In this first movie, it's kind of all of them are the star, and it's not
Yeah,
really until she is the last one on the ship that you realize she is the hero to be rooting for.
yeah,
Because this was Sigourney Weaver's like I don't want to say it was her very first project, but it was like her first big one that kind of put her on the map,
mm,
kind of thing. And it's so it shows because in a good way, like it's for like her first like big project, she fucking kills it, you know.
yeah,
Like it's there's a reason like yeah, Ripley is just an amazing character, and it's thanks in most part, of course, the writing and the directing, but also Sigourney Weaver's performance.
yeah.
Um, Even in the ones that I would say aren't the best, which we will get to, but she still manages to give her all to
Oh
the
yeah.
performance.
Like I defended like again like I will defend a certain alien movie where things are a little off the wall crazy, but like in my opinion it also shows like the horror of humanity in,
Hmm.
realistically, like the whole like level of the lengths they're willing to go to achieve their goals.
Uh,
You know the one on you probably know the one I'm referring to.
Yeah. Is it the Joss Whedon one?
I'm talking about Resurrection.
Yeah, yeah, Joss Whedon.
Okay, because like in my opinion, like humanity are like like the true monsters in that. Like,
Yeah, I can.
especially when you see the lab with the failed clones.
Yeah, I will say for all that movie's faults, I loved that scene.
Yeah,
Just because again, because Sigourney Weaver just fucking
yeah,
steals it. Like like it's a different iteration of Ripley. Like literally, like we'll get into it again, but it's a clone. But like her the the expressions and emotions she gives us as an audience, like as she's basically just burning that room to a crisp. Like
yeah.
it's such a very well acted scene in an otherwise just shit film. um,
It is the worst of the aliens, but I wouldn't say it's a shit film.
I will say again, it's for me. It's the cast is what saves it for me.
Anyway,
The same with Alien, but
back
yeah,
to
yeah,
Alien now.
yeah.
We're getting
We're,
way ahead
we're
of ourselves.
yeah, yeah, we are.
But
Um,
again, we just wanted to point out like the female, like the whole situation in modern film with female leads.
Yeah, now it's not all like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
no,
there are exceptions. Like again, going back to again to keep it with the alien theme, because we will be talking about it eventually. But Alien Romulus, the lead
yeah,
character of Rain, I felt she was actually she was a well handled character. Like
yeah.
the I wouldn't again writing
Okay,
not through and through, but yeah.
maybe let me rephrase it. It's more of this self pat, like the self like pat on the back
Oh, the self
promotion.
insert ones, absolutely.
Yeah, like
Which
like the company's going out of their way to try and like when it's done like if it's done right, you don't need to pat yourselves on the
yeah,
back.
yeah. Like again, another good example, Arcane.
Haven't seen it.
Really good. First of all, recommend it. Fantastic show, well animated. But again,
It's just I'm not a fan of League of Legends, so
honestly, you don't. I'm not either. Honestly, it's best thing about it is you don't really need to know anything about the game to kind of enjoy the show, which is again, always important, I think, for something like that.
hmm.
But no, yeah, the very strong female lead. She's well written. She's got some layers to her character. She like again like the important, and this is where we're going back to the writing of the characters. For in order for a character to be truly, regardless of gender, regardless of race, sexuality, they have to adhere to the hero's journey. Like it's the fundamental foundation
Yeah.
for most characters. Like if you can, and even villains can go through a version of the hero's journey. Like it just works in reverse,
Yeah.
basically. Loki is a perfect example.
Oh God.
I would say,
Maybe we should cover the MCU at some point.
oh, I would love to actually code it because
There's
that'll
so
be a
much
fun
of
one.
them. It's a ripe thing for this place.
Oh,
Also, I want to
absolutely.
point out I'm really getting more and more in line with like calling this this video series side chat because it's
We're going off.
yeah, like it's like we're going on. It's like we're going on side quests as opposed to the main quest line. The main quest being like let's talk about Alien, but then we get distracted by a shiny side quest.
Yeah, yeah. But again, it can come back to it because we're talking about how well
Yeah.
Ripley as a character is written, and again, the hero's journey. Like
Mm.
and again, it because every character in Alien, Dan O'Bannon and oh, I can't remember the name of the other guy that co-wrote the script with him, but basically, like all the characters in Alien were kind of written as gender neutral. Like that's why they
Mm.
only ever referred to them as their last names. And then as they were getting into the casting process, like any of them could have been Ripley and
Like
Sigourney Weaver. Oh,
in all fairness, though, like with social norms evolving
mm,
now mind you, they're evolving they're being dragged forward into progression. So it's a slow progression, but it's progression nonetheless. I can see like that being like the whole gender neutral thing, like in terms of like how you treat people, like becoming like because it's set so far in the future. I can see it becoming completely normalized, sort of like how in like Starship Troopers they have like completely gender neutral fucking showers.
oh yeah. Oh no, no. I was just talking about like they when it came to writing the characters, they just hadn't assigned genders to the characters yet.
Mm.
They kind of just wrote them as anyone can. This could be anyone. I think, but I do get what you mean. Yeah, like it's
Like it fits,
I'm,
in my opinion. All I'm saying is like it sort of fits in the universe.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing that I can't wait until we start talking about the actual aesthetic of that universe. I love the alien aesthetic so much when it comes to like the
Yeah.
Nostromo and the
So
space.
I was going to
We'll
say,
get
like,
into it.
let's move forward a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit
yeah, yeah.
to the ship design of the
Ah,
Night.
yeah, because
I
we're going over. Yeah, because we've gone
we're
over. Well,
still in the intro.
we are. Well, because because again we got Sigourney Weaver. You've got fucking Veronica Cartwright as Lambert. You've got Yaphet Kotto as Parker, who is probably my favorite
John
character after
Hurt,
Ripley. John Hurt, of course. What's your remember?
RRP.
Oh, fucking legend. Yeah, yeah. Same with Yaphet Kotto. He died, I think, last year. It was.
I I loved John Hurt in both, obviously Harry Potter,
Yeah.
and also in the show, the British fantasy show Merlin.
Oh yes,
he
he was
was
the
the
dragon,
voice.
wasn't
Yeah,
he?
he was the voice of the dragon.
Yes, and actually as well, because we're talking about because when it comes to Yaphet Kotto, Bond fans will recognize him as Doctor Kananga from
Yep,
Live and Let Die.
yep.
Um, and then of course again you've got Veronica Cartwright who had she had a really good kind of filmography on her side. I think before that she did Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I think that came out before Alien, which is also a good movie starring Donald Sutherland, and I believe Leonard Nimoy and a very young Jeff Goldblum. So
Mm.
that's something to no fucking god damn it. So
Right.
yeah, we've got Tom Skerritt. That was it that played Dallas, and then of course the late great Ian Holm. Uh, fucking Bilbo Baggins himself. Then you've got Harry Dean Stanton as Brett, and of course Balaji Badejo as the alien. I may have butchered his name. I do apologize, but he was a very tall man.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, we've got this great cast, and a lot of them are kind of like veterans in the acting world.
Yeah.
So that's what makes the reveal of Ripley being the protagonist so well done, because it's kind of this relative unknown at the time, like this first big break, and then she's like, oh yeah, so this is the protagonist, because I think everyone thought Tom Skerritt because he was like
The
Starsky
captain.
and Hutch and all that, yeah, but not just that, but like he had like he was already a leading man in a lot of TV shows and films at the time, so I think a lot of people were expecting him to be the head, but no, it was Sigourney Weaver, and it kind of paved the way for just so many fantastic female leads from then on. And Aliens, we'll get to it eventually, but her arc in Aliens is amazing. Um, but yeah, and so yeah, we're onto the we're
There's
onto the opening now. We've the
yeah,
ship now, the Nostromo.
yeah. I
Uh,
gotta love. I love how they went very clearly. Now they touched on this in Alien Romulus, and again, like, it's a very good attention to detail.
hmm.
You will notice that the ship actually doesn't really have engines turned on as it's flying,
Yeah,
because logically speaking, like, once a ship has a thrust going forward, it will just keep going forward until it meets resistance.
exactly. It's such a nice detail that I'm glad they added in. Um,
Now, obviously, they
which
cannot go faster,
mhm.
but the thing is, though, like, in a world, because, like, as we see eventually in the next movie, like, humanity is extremely slow when it comes to actually starting to terraform planets. So therefore, resources are not, numerous. So it makes logical sense that they're like, okay, you get into position, you thrust forward, and then you just hope that nothing crosses your path.
Exactly. And that's why, of course, that's why they introduced the hypersleep stuff as well. So like
Yeah,
they've got these long, which I believe at the time as well, that's what they thought like deep space travel would be.
yeah,
Like because there's no realistically we don't have the ability to jump to light speed or even warp travel,
yeah.
even though that one is a little bit more likely. But no, so that's why I was like, oh yeah, hypersleep, kind of a cryogenic freeze thing to get you through the long travel through deep space, which and it works
Mhm.
so well. Which again, that's we're getting into the aesthetic of the universe. I love the very lived in space trucker feel of the alien universe, the retro future they call it,
Mm. And
and it because it feels like even now when you go back and watch it, it feels like this is a type of future that could exist.
yeah,
Like it's so well done.
like, and the thing is, it doesn't even look like what we would expect from a ship, like a spaceship
Mm,
now. Like, it looks like, to me, it looks more like like a space station.
Yeah, because that's the whole point. Like the idea is it was meant to be this because it's a deep space mining
yeah,
vessel
no, it's
or
not.
towing vehicle.
It's a towing vehicle. It's meant to pull other vehicles.
Yeah, so it's shipping ore and stuff like that, and so yeah, they have to have this. It has to have this feeling of like it's almost like a building in space kind of thing,
Yeah.
which it's such a
Now,
nice
what we're seeing
thing.
on screen now, folks, that's what I would expect. The design of the Endeavor. Now, that's a military ship, so obviously it has the sleek design that you're going to expect. Like,
Oh yeah, you're on that foot. My footage is
I'm on
on
a
that.
loading screen, so
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's the Endeavor.
Um,
But no, I love the design of the Nostromo.
then
Like,
oh yeah, then it's such a like that the aesthetic of Alien because like have you ever played a game called Space Engineers or heard of it?
yes,
Oh yeah,
I have it.
but oh, it's such a good game. But like that's what I do. Like whenever I'm building a ship, like I always try to go for the kind of Alien aesthetic where it's because the ships are kind of simple but really kind of fun to build
I
in terms
built.
of an interior.
Well, the first thing I did was I went into creative mode and built the Ebon Hawk.
I you know what I respect that.
It was awkward. I had to like as you know I have a dual screen monitoring system like set up like so I
Mm,
had like the a layout of the Ebon Hawk on one screen as I'm like okay count the squares because like it was set up for like Star Wars RPG so someone
yeah.
had like grid to it so I was like okay count the squares this is how many this is how long the hallway should be so like oh it was annoying because I was playing it by myself so like
Yeah.
unfortunately Space Engineers is one of those games where you really do need multiple people especially if you're
Yeah,
playing in survival mode.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of like Minecraft in that sense, which is like
I think it's
another
a bit
fun game.
I
But
think
it's
it's a bit more hardcore than Minecraft.
oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah,
I'm just talking in terms of like replayability. It is
yeah.
more fun with friends, but no, like Space Engineers is Minecraft with extra steps because like
Mm,
there is a science to it. Like you have to judge the like how much where you want the pipes to go, the air filters, stuff like that.
mm.
I think that's why I enjoy it so much. Like I just have Star Trek in the background as I
And
build. It's great.
fuel and oxygen and water
Yeah,
on your ship like
and again, because like as you're saying with Alien, like if you want to travel, use the inertia dampeners to turn them off, and then just have the ship going on purely propulsion. Um, it's so good. Anyway, but no, the aesthetic of the Nostromo and just that, and something will because well something we'll probably get into with Alien Isolation. They captured that feel so well with
mm,
Sevastopol as well, which I love. And but yeah, it's this great kind of space trucker vibe, which of course, a fun fact actually. That so when it comes to the Nostromo set, so apparently, like yeah, the ladders actually that you see in the ship, they do lead to other parts of the set. Like they did actually make a kind of modular.
oh that's
Um,
cool.
and because they wanted Ridley Scott wanted the ship to have kind of a familiarity for the audience, a lot of it was built with airplane parts,
Mm.
which I think is really cool.
So, all right. So we're now out of the intro.
Yeah, yeah. We've
It took us a
discussed the
while.
cast. Yeah, yeah.
It took us a while, but
We're an hour in.
yeah, we're getting there. So yeah, so it's around at this point that, however, that the AI system Mother
Mhm.
starts waking up the whole crew because it detected communications.
Yes, the well, we don't know that at first. We think the ship's just waking them up. They
Yeah,
think
yeah.
they're at home. They think they're close to Earth.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not. Well,
Uh,
I skipped that because I don't think we should go like literally step by step of
oh no,
them.
no. I would. Of course, not that part. I do want to kind of just go over just briefly, just because what that opening does is it does it. And again, if you think about it, the alien doesn't actually show up until like maybe the second act of the film. Like the entire first act of the film is just introducing us to the characters,
Yeah, yeah.
introducing us to this world, and of course on LV-426, where they find the derelict. But yeah, the alien doesn't show up for like a good 40 minutes
Mm,
of the film.
yeah.
But it's still considered the most iconic monster in horror, and it deserves that title
Oh yeah,
very
no,
well.
it definitely does. Yeah.
but yeah, but because we're getting this thing where we're introducing these characters, we see how they interact with each other. There's a lot of
Yeah,
banter.
yeah.
There's
Oh yeah, sorry,
back
yeah.
and forth.
Establishing the personality of the characters, like
Yeah, yeah,
very much, we have like two characters that are very quickly to be established as the selfish money. We want money.
yeah, yeah,
Characters.
and and then of course you've got Lambert, who's just kind of, you can tell she's just fed up. She just wants to go home, that kind of
Yeah,
thing. You've got Ripley, who is the no nonsense kind of stick in the mud kind of thing
yeah,
with her personality. Dallas is the captain, so of course he's kind of the kind that holds them together. And Kane, John Hurt's character, of course, just being
the
the kind of, I mean, the first officer. I'll volunteer for anything kind of thing, because he,
yeah.
you know.
Also, I want to point out, like,
Oh, and Ash.
yeah, they actively, like, for example, the navigator, I want to say, because she's looking at a star chart. The navigator is repeatedly like, "Where's Earth?" and she is actively ignoring Ripley.
Yeah, I just think that's not our system.
Yeah, like Ripley's just sitting there like, "This is not our system," and the navigator's like, just
Our,
like, "Where's Earth?"
yeah,
Like,
no, she's like, oh, that's not our system. I don't know that. Like,
like
she's kind of like, I don't want to believe that we're not on Earth yet.
yeah, like it's so it does establish like how like their interaction, like clearly Ripley is like she
She's not
has
the most well liked on the ship.
yeah, she's clearly there because, like, again, they're clearly part of some kind of company. We actually don't learn anything about the company that they're actually with.
No, no,
um
we just know it's Wayland Yutani, and that's it. Like, we don't really get any more details about them until the second film.
mhm.
We just know they're a company and they want the alien.
Yeah, but
Um,
not only that, like, but like that's why this crew's together, like.
mm,
It's so like they're complete, like there's very little there is friendship amongst the crew, obviously. Clearly they've traveled, like, quite a few ways with each other, but no one is friendly with Ripley. She is
yeah.
purely just a colleague.
No, yeah, like she'll join the banter with them, and they might have a laugh or two, but other than that, it's clearly just a she's a work colleague. That's it, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And
um
it's I think it's done. I think particularly between her and Parker, Yaphet Kotto's character, I think that kind of relationship is kind of shown really well, because they're both at each other throughout the course of this movie,
yeah,
until like towards the very end, when it's just the three of them and Ash left after she has to take charge. So it's a nice kind of
mhm.
development for his character as well, because it's
Like, it was all about the money, but then, like, once his friend dies, he's like, I just want that thing dead.
yeah, it's such a seriously, again, much like the monster with which the film is named after. It's a perfect movie. Like, it's, oh yeah, I wanted to do that. It's the perfect organism. This is the perfect movie. And of course, if we're going into the distress signal and stuff like that, because yeah, because Yaphet Kotto's character Parker, he's just like, oh yeah, no, I can we just ignore this? We're truckers. We don't need all this. And
Yeah,
the movie gives them a valid reason. If you ignore this, you will not be paid.
yeah, because apparently it's in their contract. Because, like, it's like, unfortunately, Mother is, as an AI, will obviously report that, like, hey, we got a distress signal, and they kept moving on.
Yeah, no,
Um,
they didn't even bother. So
yeah.
it's, yeah.
So,
So
unfortunately, there's a built-in system that will just readily rat them out.
yeah, which I think, from a writing standpoint, it's a great way to write the characters into a corner that they can't get out of. They have
Yeah.
no choice but to do this thing that could be dangerous, or
Yeah.
else they don't get their pay. They don't get their money.
Yeah, because at the moment they get half shares based on the value of, I'm guessing, whatever they're hauling.
Yeah,
Like, albeit because it's a towing vessel, I imagine they mostly tow like derelicts or like broken down vehicles, and it's probably like maybe half the value of whatever they're towing.
yeah. Well, from what I understand, because I do explain this in Alien, it's I think it's like ore, like from
Oh
asteroids
yeah,
and gas
they
giants.
do
I
have
think.
ore on the ship. It is established, but I'm just
Oh
saying,
yeah.
because the vessel is normally it's labeled a towing vessel.
Oh yes, yes.
So
No,
that's
that's a
what I'm
good
saying.
point.
Like,
Yeah.
normally they probably tow, like, ships that broke down. They're
Yeah.
they're AAA. They're space AAA, and they normally probably get like half shares of whatever the vessel they're towing is, or in this case, they're probably only going to get half the value of whatever the ore is.
Yeah.
But if they ignore any if there's any kind of signal that is potentially from an intelligent life, you forfeit all your shares.
Yeah. So
So you
you
basically
have
just
to do
provide,
this.
yeah, you
Yeah.
just provide free labor if you break this rule.
Yeah. And like, because which of course, like, because I think they're like, they explain later on that like they after going to the planet and leading it, like they're still 10 months away from Earth, so
Yeah,
they're like what, maybe a year and a half in space
yeah, and
or something like that.
if they suddenly lose all their money, like that's a year and a half of free service they did to the company
Yeah,
being around.
it's so that it's I think again as a as a writing tool, it was a very clever way of getting them in there.
Oh yeah, and the fact
Um,
is, even before that, they get onto the planet. They're fishing to get full shares. They're
yep.
like, we want to raise.
Yeah, yeah. Like when Parker and Bridge is like, "Oh yeah, so Ripley, what will be the bonus situation?" No, no, Parker, you'll get everything that's coming to you. Don't worry. And again, a great scene between the three of them because it just shows, all right, they're clearly just ripping the piss into each other, and it's again, it's a great way to establish the kind of the relationship between those
Yeah,
characters. Um, but yeah, and then we get to our first additional scene for the director's cut, which is we actually hear the distress signal.
I wasn't aware that was added.
It was in the theatrical release. It isn't in there, and this is where I wanted to bring up the because when we were talking about the opening. So of course we hear the distress signal, and it sounds like a weird kind of disembodied voice or what we assume is a voice anyway
Mhm.
talking. But there's also some bizarre noises in the background, and one of those noises, and I had to double check it because I wanted to make sure it wasn't just they added this in for atmosphere, but no.
Right.
Um, in the distress signal, we hear the same wailing sound from the opening titles. So if they had left that scene in, I kind of want to think that the wailing sound we're hearing during the opening titles is the distress signal. It's just
Mhm.
being played along with the soundtrack, and it's a nice. I don't know. It's a
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
detail I liked.
And also, considering the condition that they find at the time, what they called the space jockey,
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they changed it to engineers because, like, that's a much better fucking title for an
Oh,
unknown alien species than fucking space jockey.
I don't know. I didn't mind Space Jockey, but oh god, did you actually ever hear what happened during the premiere of Alien? I think it was at the Chinese theater.
No,
So okay, so of course, because Alien, the Space Jockey, the ship, they were all designed by the fantastic H.R. Giger.
Mhm.
And if anyone wants to look up his art, be prepared to be disturbed.
Oh yeah, I
Oh yeah,
actually know. I heard about this. Yeah,
yeah,
like people are really disturbed by, and it's also it's like Ridley Scott like just happened to see like some like eldritch artwork of him and that he made, and that's what inspired the design for
yeah, yeah. The very
this alien
the
film.
biomechanical thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, basically, so what happened for the Chinese theater was they actually brought the Space Jockey prop from that scene,
Ah.
and they brought it to display it, and outside the theater, and a woman tried to set it on fire, claiming it was the work of Satan. And I think H.R. Geiger had said in an interview that that was probably like one of the proudest moments of his life.
Oh god.
And they also there was also we'll get to the chest burster eventually, but like apparently they had to a few cinemas had actually begged 20th Century Fox to give them an edited version of the film that kind of tones down that scene, and Fox said no.
Yeah.
Because people were actually getting sick apparently.
Yeah. I can imagine. But yeah, so like it's again like it's just an amazing like performance by everyone, like because you can like as we were talking about, you can definitely feel the relationships and where everyone stands within the crew.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like because even like there's that again. We'll get to it eventually when we get back into it. But because like when they're after they go onto the planet, and of course then John Hurt gets face hugged and stuff like that. And they're coming back onto the ship, and Ripley denies them entry. Like, no, no, we're going to break quarantine if we do this. Why the fuck? Why are you thinking I'm going to let you bring an
An
organism on
unknown,
board?
yeah.
Yeah, and it's again, it's one of those things where she was in the right. Like, it was a dick thing to do, but she was in the right. Even if her and Kane were friends, she still made the right call.
Oh
And of
yeah.
course, Ash, and we learn later on why he let them back on board. But again, in the director's cut, they add in the scene of Lambert just giving Ripley a massive wallop.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
apparently that slap was real. Apparently she actually made contact.
Oh wow.
So that shock on Sigourney Weaver's face was real.
Yeah, but in all fairness, though, like even without hindsight with this whole Xenomorph thing, she was absolutely fucking right.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you're on a fucking alien planet. Someone's spacesuit is breached,
Yeah.
and there's something stuck to his goddamn fucking face.
And again, as we learn, like when because Dallas has given her a tongue lashing while he and Ash are looking at Kane, and she's like, "When I give you an order, I expect it to be followed."
Even
And
when
Rick's
it
like,
breaks the law.
"You're goddamn right." I fucking love that scene so much. But yeah, it's just because it's they clearly, because they work for the company, they have rules, they have laws that they have to follow. And Ash, of course, for reasons we learn about later on, he breaks them, and then just kind of dooms the rest of the ship.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and then that entire sequence anyway, when they're on the planet, of
It's
course the ship breaks down.
I'm not gonna lie, it's sort of scenes like that and scenes in zombie movies where the person like lets their friend keeps their friend around even after they've been fucking bitten.
Yeah.
Like now it's like what our Saber Smith. Remember we had that whole zombie game, like the infected.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I kept we had an ally. So it was one of the few survivors left, and she came near me, and I'm like, I don't know if she's infected or not, or if she's lying. I then eliminated her because I was like, and I kept saying, anyone get close to me, I will eliminate you.
Yeah.
And she got close. I eliminate her, and then everyone's like, "What the hell? I bet you're that guy in the zombie movie that would just shoot their friends in the head or lock everyone out." And I'm like, "Damn fucking right, I would in the zombie apocalypse."
You're surviving. You're surviving The Walking Dead.
Like, like I would not let anyone in unless they fucking stripped down naked and showed me that they had no fucking bite marks.
Yeah, it's like, no, no, no. This isn't a bite mark. My cat scratched me. Why are you loading the double barrel? Oh, but yeah, it is. It's that kind of mentality where it's just like they want to bring Kane back on, but Ripley's kind of the only. Now, to be fair, actually, it's the first time in the movie where we see Parker actually taking her side, where she's like, "Oh yeah, she's right. What? How do we don't know what the
Yeah,
fuck we just brought
when
back
they
on board?"
freezing? Why aren't they freezing them? Like
Yeah.
that's actually a completely valid reason. If okay, let's say there's no chest burst or anything.
Mm,
He even brings it up. Why don't they freeze him and we bring him to a doctor when we get back to Earth?
exactly. And
Like
it's
it's that, and that is the most like okay. So the next best logical thing, first logical thing is just don't fucking open the door. Keep them locked out of the ship.
exactly.
Then the second most logical reason is freeze him so that way whatever is going on with his body is not progressing. He's not going to get better, but he's also not going to get worse. And
Mm,
then bring him to fucking science and doctor special, like scientists and doctors. You know,
exactly.
people that can definitely better manage the situation as opposed to a ship science specialist who
Ugh,
probably again this is a towing ship. This is like again like to use your analogy, a trucker ship. He's probably like he probably has the bare minimum to be a science officer. Now obviously his intelligence is actually higher than like because we for reasons we'll talk about later on,
yeah, yeah,
but like from our perspective he is a human science officer
yeah.
who for some reason is serving on a towing vessel.
Yeah. Now, of course, we do learn like after the face hugger comes off of Kane, and fucking Ash is like, "Oh yeah, no, I want to study it. What do you think, Captain?" And fucking Dallas is like, "Yeah, okay, I'll leave this decision to you, Ash." And Ripley, much to her chagrin, is just like, "Dallas, what the fuck?" And Dallas is like, "Look, anything to do with the science division, Ash has the final word because that's what the company wants. It's this way because the company says it's this way. So it's up to Ash." So we're kind of like, again, it's dialogue that gives us that, okay, so Ash clearly is he's not you get the impression he's not a regular person on the ship.
Oh yeah,
Like
fair
he's
enough.
not someone they're used to. And it turns out there is actually a deleted scene. They do actually reconfirm it in Alien Isolation, but there is actually a deleted scene that they didn't put into the director's cut, which I understand why they didn't. But it's revealed that Ash came aboard the ship when they were halfway to their destination for getting ore. They
Oh,
made a stop at a space station, and Dallas is the only one that had kind of had familiarity with him. But as far as the rest of the crew was concerned, he's kind of like a brand new member, as far as they're
okay.
aware. I understand why they kind of cut the scene, because I think they wanted the twist of what Ash really was to be like a genuine surprise. So I think if they did leave that conversation
They'd be
in,
like,
it
okay,
yeah,
he's clearly.
the audience be like, okay, so we need to keep an eye on him. But no,
Yeah.
it's I think it's they do again Alien Isolation. They do have an audio
Mm.
tape from Dallas himself talking about it. So I'm kind of like, okay,
There's
that's at least.
also some interesting like dialogue from Ash, like some of the choice of words he says.
Mm,
Some of the things I'm like, okay, no human would just say something like that.
exactly, and
Hold
again,
on,
it's
folks, real
oh
quick.
oh I can hear them.
1 sec.
And while he's going on with that, I'll probably sorry on Celtic's end. I'm sorry if you'll get confused. I'm just going to be talking about what I see on screen right now from my side of the Aliens fire team. So I'm playing as a medic on my end right now. You guys will probably get to that eventually. It's got the cool screen filter on it, but yeah, the game is fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, it is a game where more fun with friends. Definitely. For some reason, it's 3 player rather than 4 player co op, which I don't know why they thought that they made that decision. Like 4 is kind of like the bare minimum for like a co op game. You know, like you got your Helldivers and stuff like that. Halo back in the day. I don't know if it's still 4 player co op. Maybe they've again, I stopped playing after 4, and when it comes to Halo Infinite, I only played the multiplayer, which I do like. Again, I stopped playing for a while, so I don't know if it's gotten bad or worse. I heard it was bad for a while. I don't know if they fixed it. Hopefully they have, but the early days of the Halo Infinite multiplayer, I actually really enjoyed. But yeah, Aliens Fireteam, like it's really good. It's quite easy to get the hang of, and it's again, you don't really need a high end PC to run it. Like it's and it's cheap. Like again, like I think on Steam it's like €29, and then when it's on sale, it's like 24, 25. So fucking bargain, I'd say. Like for what it is, it's a laugh with friends, which is kind of what I think that's a good thing. Games like that are good. Again, it's why Helldivers 2 is such a fun game. Or before they fucked up the balancing issues for the game. I don't get that. Like for it's a PvE game, like it's a multiplayer co-op game where you're fighting AI enemies. I don't know why they felt the need to nerf weapons for balancing issues. They said, "Oh, because we want people to use the stratagems." And I'm just thinking, like, the stratagems are nice, kind of have them in the event that you're up shit creek without a paddle, but for the most part, like the fun gameplay loop is from the gun mechanics, the gunplay, and like the different ways you can blend your weapons together and stuff like that. Yeah, the stratagems are great, but making them like nerfing weapons to ensure that stratagems were the main focus of how you perform combat in the game, I think was just a horrible idea, which thankfully the devs also agreed with when apparently they announced on Steam and on their official pages stuff like that. Yeah, we hear you. So we're going to fix the nerfing issues. We're going to fix the combat and balancing issues. It's not going to be like a one and done fix. It's going to be a progressive thing. We're going to fix them as we come, because if we fix one thing, we'll be causing issues for another thing. So it's I will say, despite like all the shit that happened with like Sony trying to force the fucking what's it called, the PlayStation Network thing onto players, which I'm glad they walked back on. But the game is still banned in countries where PSN is illegal, which is just complete horseshit. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's like fucking the dev team is just fucking. They've been very hands on with the community, and I love that so much about the Helldivers devs. I can't remember the name at the moment, but they're good. Uh, you back, man?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, no.
Food was delivered.
Oh no, that's fine. I was just discussing with the lovely people, just going over a little bit of Aliens Fire Team, and then I went into a little bit about Helldivers 2 and how the devs are fixing the balancing issues,
Let me just
which is good on them.
also get rewind, restart my little footage. of Fire Team. What were we talking about? Oh yeah,
Ash.
Ash, and so like there's just some like dialogue decisions like that he made, like certain words he picked, like, and you can see it on like you can sort of see it with Ripley's reactions to
To a
things.
lot of
Like
his stuff, yeah.
she's like, "Oh, that's a weird thing to say."
Yeah, yeah. Like I think the first time, again, you don't really notice it until until you're like you rewatch the film now that you know what he is. Because like when you first watch the film, like he'll glance in a way or say something, and you just think, okay, he's the science officer. They're usually cold and a bit distant. Maybe that's why. But then once you watch once you watch the film the second time, like, oh my god, this cunt.
Yeah,
And it's because like yeah, it's when Ripley finds out that the distress signal looks like a warning, and she wants to go out and warn the others. And immediately he's like, "What's the point?" I mean, by the time, and then immediately he kind of goes back into, I mean, by the time you get out there, they'll have figured it out. No, I'm just like, oh, that's an. I mean, it's when you think about it, you're like, okay, logically it makes sense, but at the same time, like once you know what he is, you're like, you just want them to get fucked up, don't you? So they can bring back whatever they might find. Um, and then again, like
it's even when he's
like
first examining the face hugger after it's dead. Like,
oh, absolutely. Like it's he's very awkward in his how he's trying to explain it to Ripley without without kind of sounding suspicious. Like he's trying to be like, oh yeah, no, it's this, it's that, but it's you can tell he doesn't want to talk to her about this at all. Like he sees divulging this information to her as a hindrance, just in the way he's acting in and saying the dialogue, which I think is again Ian Holm, fucking fantastic actor.
mm,
Like he added a nuance to Ash that I don't think anyone else could have, and he was the perfect choice for this character. I think. Like my favorite things is after the facehugger is off Kane, and they're all sitting around having their last meal before the freezers, and he just gives Kane that little glance, like he's looking very. Now again, when you're watching the film the first time, you think, oh, he's just the science officer. He's the doctor, making sure the patient's okay. No, no. After the film, you're like, oh no, he's watching to see what will happen. He's keeping a close eye because he wants to see what this thing has done to him, and it's
yeah,
just so
like
oh.
he's looking for any kind of change in behavior.
Exactly. It's such a again perfect movie. It's just such a well written and well like the script is so tight. Like
Like
there's
it's like now again, I'm a subscriber to a YouTube channel called Super Carlin Brothers, and they have a great multi-part series called Dumbledore's Big Plan. Now, it focuses more on the books, but once you hear the video, sorry, like once you hear it, certain behaviors that Dumbledore does throughout the series starts making a bit more sense. They're
mm,
like, oh shit, Dumbledore's doing stuff behind the scenes. Like, just to give an example, like why is Molly Weasley, who went to Hogwarts and who's had several children at this point, also go to Hogwarts, asking what's the platform number, like very aloud, like like there's no reason. Even in the first movie, there's like you would like when you realize like hold on, Ron has several big siblings. Like, actually, even in that scene, you realize, hold on, Fred and George clearly are older than Ron. Percy is also clearly older, and whatnot. So, like, you're like, why is she not? Why is she not knowing? Like clearly she's done this every single year, and so she's at this platform twice a year for the past how many years?
mm-hmm.
And yes, she's asking, "What's the platform number?" No, 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 no. And also, why did Dumbledore leave the Mirror of Erised on that floor for Harry to find? Conveniently, also on the same time that he gives Harry back the invisibility cloak. You
Yeah.
know, when you sorry folks, I'm eating dinner. So again, like these little behaviors, like when you're first reading or listening, or okay, actually, no, it's not very prevalent in the movies, but
It's
reading
definitely more
or
so in the book. Yeah.
yeah, like when you hear this theory, again, I recommend any Harry Potter fan to check out the Super Colin Brothers. They do amazing like theories. They do amazing quizzes, and also they do like an amazing what if. My favorite is what if Harry was in Slytherin. They go really like again everything from the perspective of the books as opposed from the movies. And their new one that they're doing is what if Ron was sorted into Hufflepuff, and it's really
Hmm.
interesting.
That would have been interesting, actually. Yeah.
Little spoiler alert: Harry is not sent to the Dursleys.
Huh.
Yep. Like the key, like the idea is the key moment that would push Ron to end up being in Hufflepuff is what if Harry was taken in by the Weasleys, and
That really
because
didn't actually in the books. Didn't Ron's mom actually offer to take Harry in? Or was that was I? Am I
no,
thinking of Hagrid?
Dumbledore acknowledges that several families would be happy to take Harry in. They would like so many families would have been happy to take him in, but he chose not to.
Yeah.
So like the what if, the clearly the chain of events that starts this what if is what if Dumbledore, who's already good friends with the Weasleys because two of Molly's brothers were part of the Order of the Phoenix, which means he knew her.
Hmm.
Because the only reason now it's brought up, the only reason why her and her husband did not take part in the First Wizard War was because they had a bunch of newborn children,
Yeah.
and they didn't want to leave their kids alone. So clearly, Dumbledore is very close with the Weasleys,
Hmm.
and which would make then perfect sense. Like if he had to give, if he was going to give them Harry to any wizarding family, it would most likely be the Weasleys,
Yeah.
because who would know that they're kind-hearted people.
They were. I loved Molly
Oh
in
God.
the books and even the
Oh.
films. Like perfect casting.
Oh, best line in the fucking movie. Get away from her, you. Actually, it's so. Oh my god, it's so on board with the aliens.
With
Because
Aliens, yeah, because that again, Aliens, just like Alien, like it's one of the most referenced kind of movies. Like there will always be like an Aliens reference in some form of media,
yeah,
like whether it be like Game Over Man or the Power Loader and stuff like that. Like there's always like again, Alien is one of those films where it's such
I
an
wonder if that
in
was the intent. I wonder if that was supposed to be a reference, though. I'm curious if it was a reference.
well, because I think the dialogue is not "my daughter, you bit" or "get away from
Yeah,
my daughter, you bitch." But I think
yeah,
it's definitely, I would say it's definitely Aliens inspired,
maybe.
definitely, because
Oh, if it's
there's
not, then like okay, but
happy
like,
accident.
yeah, it's a happy accident. But like that is such a great moment, like, because you're just like,
Oh yeah.
yo, yeah, Molly Weasley, like she can back up.
Oh,
uh,
absolutely. It's oh, that's
uh,
I need to reread the books. Again, I have them on Audible. They're fucking Stephen Fry,
oh
great
God,
voice.
yeah. Mind you,
Yeah.
the I hate the bit where Ron in Prison of Azkaban, when Ron is being attacked by, well, he thinks he's being attacked by Sirius, and he's like, oh no, like Stephen Fry, real like no, in the book it actually is like a very long quote, but I love how Stephen Fry doesn't even fucking shorten it. He's like, you know what, I'm going for it, and he does it.
Yeah.
And
Never accuse Stephen Fry of half-assing it.
oh yeah, well he was friends with J.K. so.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's even the inside joke that she then quickly started putting the line pocketed it in all the future books because he was having issues saying it for the audiobook.
It was her nice little jab at him,
Yeah, he
uh,
like apparently he rang her
asking her, yeah.
during like, hey, can I change this line because I can't really say it. She's like, what line? And he said to say it, and she apparently broke down laughing and was like, no, you have to say it. You have to read the book as it is. And then apparently the future joke was, then she then added it. She went out of her way to add that line in each book.
Okay, no, that's pretty fucking funny.
All right, back to Alien though.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got so yeah, they're on the planet. We've got Ash and all his shady dealings and how they
Yeah.
again because the script is so well written, so tight. I love it.
Mm.
Um, and then again, yeah, because yeah, they're on the planet. They discover the derelict, which we of course we learn later on is the engineer ship. But do you know how they managed to like for scale like how, with the sets and stuff like that? Did you know what they did behind the scenes like
No.
for so okay so first of all with the spacesuits they didn't have ventilation so they couldn't really film for longer than a few minutes because the actors were actually getting really hot inside and
Mm.
actually like hyperventilating and shit like that so they couldn't film for a few minutes more than a few minutes at a time but when it came to when they were inside the derelict and for a few of the exterior shots on the planet when they're walking around in the spacesuits, the sets weren't actually that big. So what they did to try, especially for the space jockey or the engineer corpse, to make it look like this big giant alien thing that you wouldn't never see, they actually put kids into the spacesuits and had them
Oh.
walk around the set to make it look even bigger. I think it was Ridley Scott's two sons, and I think then the son of one of the
Oh, that's
producers.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. So you can kind of notice it, particularly with the space jockey sequence. But no, yeah, for a lot of the wide shots, it was kids walking around the set and the props and stuff like that. And it's again, it's even with that, like again rewatching the film with that information, it's so seamless. I keep forgetting, like it's so well
Mm.
done. And then of course we get the egg scene then when they're going down. I found it because of course you get down to the egg scenes. It's clearly the cargo bay where all the aliens were. The space jockey had
Mm.
the chest burst open, which is such great foreshadowing. Um,
I
let
like
me
to
see the.
think. Know how you talk about there's a wailing in the distress signal. I
Mm,
like to think that that is because as the he was sending out that SOS, the warning,
mm.
it was breaking out.
Ooh, I like that. I like that
Because
theory
like
actually.
why else would he be wailing?
Yeah, it's just kind of.
Yeah, so
Um,
he is like, got it, get this warning out. Yeah, like
yeah,
he's absolutely like he's giving his last moment to make sure people
like
know
people
like
stay
not
the
to.
fuck away.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, wait, my gameplay footage is now switched to Alien Isolation, so I reached the end of my fire team footage. Right.
I rewinded.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think I have the option to do that with this. I'll look into it later on, but for now, at least I've got another 2 hours of footage to work with. Just we hopefully won't go on that long, but still.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, because then you've got Kane going down. He's like you see the eggs, and you've
the
got the
blue
mist,
mist.
which because apparently we to this day there is no explanation. No, actually there is. So basically the mist was there originally there was supposed to be Ridley Scott wanted there to be like a thin film like organic film or something like that to be above the eggs to basically alert them when someone has broken the barrier so they know when to open up and stuff like that. Unfortunately they were very tight budgeted so they couldn't do that. However, as luck would have it, the Who were playing. The band The Who
Oh
had
God.
had a live concert not far from where they were filming. So they asked if they could borrow their smoke machines and the blue light effect, the blue lighting they had, and they just made that the film instead. So Ridley Scott kind of confirming that the blue light layer thing is a factor of the xenomorph
Mm.
biology or something like that. But again, we never really get a full explanation. It appears the only other time it's appeared is in Romulus. I don't
And
think it's
every
appeared any
time,
other time.
also every time, like radios are beneath it, they go haywire.
Really? Oh yeah, yeah. The radio cut off when he was underneath it. Yes.
And you
Um.
hear a lot of static as well, like as he's
Mm-mm.
like even as he's slowly going through it's when static really spikes up.
And then when he's standing up again and his radio's above the barrier, then that's when it goes back to normal. Yeah, and that facehugger, like that's again the ultimate jump scare.
Mm.
Like it's such a well done scene, and the facehugger is just a great design in and
Oh,
of
there's
itself.
also a good level of intelligence there because the facehugger knew it needed to melt
Yes,
the helmet.
so yeah, it's like it's because it bleeds acid. Apparently, it can secrete acidic material because we already know it secretes like some kind of resin that hardens, like with the nest and stuff
Yeah.
like that in aliens. So it's not without outside the realm of possibility that it secretes acid as well.
Now, there's one problem with that scene, though, that
Mm.
then comes up in future scenes.
Oh,
why is it that other facehuggers never melted like surfaces to get at prey? Because we would see
that's
them,
yeah.
because we would see them pressing against glass and such in the future.
Mm,
But like, it's only in this one movie. Now again, this is the problem with like so, like clearly he realized he wanted Ridley Scott. He clearly wanted Utani to eventually get
an alien, yeah.
like facehuggers, to be make it clear that they're experimenting on them as well.
Mm.
So like I feel like that decision like was like okay when he first initially thought he was like okay it's cool, it makes sense, um, but then he realized okay for future movies like because like, again he probably wasn't even planning on there being sequels initially,
That's true.
and this is
Well, that's the thing. Alien was never supposed to have a sequel. That is
yeah
true. Like James Cameron, like we'll get into it when we start talking about aliens. But the way James Cameron pitched that movie is probably one of my favorite movie pitch stories I've ever, the best movie pitch story I've ever heard. We'll get into it later on. But yeah, Alien was supposed to be just a standalone
yeah
film, and it works as a standalone.
oh yeah
But
it
again,
does,
yeah,
but
the
again
sequel's still
the
great.
franchise is a really rich lore franchise, which is why I like it.
Oh yeah,
I my
absolutely.
family often confuses me as a fan of like horror because of my interest in Alien. But the thing is, what draws me to Alien is not the horror; it's the lore.
Which is a valid reason because and it's again it's kind of like the I see the alien the same way I see like the force in Star Wars. We never really need a full explanation as to how or why it exists. We just need to know it exists. This is kind of what it does because as a factor of its existence. We don't need to know anything else
Hmm.
like
And
um
and even
like
then, like even as I brought up in the past, like in our own private conversation, which led us to then
yeah.
realizing we need to make a video series
Oh,
talking about it.
absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
there's even a comic book issue that even hints to a greater intelligence to the xenomorph,
Hmm.
but it's like okay, we're going to peel back the the curtain a little bit, but then not give any other explanation. Like it's been coined again. I'm pretty sure it was only coined by a synth once, or if not, it's by the fans. There's a thing called the Xenomorph Goddess, and all we ever fucking seen of her is a dark vision from a colonial marine who had a facehugger on his face, and the chest burster was surgically removed, and he's having these like visions, and then that's it. We get a glimpse of her because he's describing it to someone
Yeah.
like the like this vision, and then that's it.
They
There's
do they kind of go very eldritch with it, which
they're
is
like,
cool.
here's a here look peek behind the curtain. Now reclose it.
Yep.
We're not giving any further explanation. Is this an actual like got like true bigger hive mind? Is it like just their creator?
Is it just how he perceived this possibly like more intelligent member of the
Like
xenomorph
queen, yeah.
species? Yeah,
Like
yeah.
is there like an evolved version of a queen that has lived like much longer? Could this thing rally all the fucking hives and become like a Tyranid threat from 40k? We don't know because all we got was her like reaching out, like a welcoming thing, and then that's it.
uh,
So it's like even every time we discover something new about a xenomorph, there's it just
More questions than
yeah.
answers. Yeah, it's yeah. It's there's so much endless possibility you can do with the which they do kind of do with the comics. Like it's like an alien, like when a xeno like facehugger gets onto you, like the embryo will then adapt itself to whatever the
Yeah,
biology of the
fifteen
host is.
percent.
Yeah, yeah. So like because this time the host was human, it's going to be bipedal. It's going to have some very kind of human characteristics with its silhouette, but of course, with the exception, of course, the more alien aspects of it. Then you've got like an Alien versus Predator. You've got the Pred
Predator.
Alien, yeah, which is probably one of my favorite additions to the lore. It was in a shit film, but the idea itself was amazing.
Mm.
It might have been in the comics as well.
And the characteristics of what it can do like is horrifying.
Oh, absolutely. I will say, like, we'll get into AVP eventually, but
Yeah,
the Predalien had good ideas. It was just kind of held back by a shit film.
yeah.
Um,
You
but
can
yeah,
barely
it's
make out anything in that movie.
oh no, that
It's
movie is
so
dark in
yeah,
terms of yeah, you can't see a fucking
not
thing.
dark in atmosphere, but dark as in lighting.
Yeah, yeah, you can't see a fucking thing, and it's so stupid. Um, a lot of films were doing it around that time, as I recall, as well.
Mm,
It's like how a lot of horror movies, especially nowadays, they have that weird gray tint to the coloring,
mm-hmm.
which is very weird. But anyway, yeah, there's so much lore with that you can do with like because we still don't know the homeworld of the aliens. Oh, I think no, actually we do. Actually, we get a glimpse of it in a comic, I think,
Mm,
from like the 80s or something like that. I'll do a bit more research and we'll probably get into it the next when we're talking about aliens.
yeah,
But it's yeah, there's so much to work with Alien as an IP because of just how deep the lore can go,
mm,
and yeah, just as the sequels go on, we'll see they kind of some ideas are decent, and then others you're just thinking,
yeah.
what the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing this? Um,
But yeah, back to the initial. So they get back to the ship, and then like there's like I love the atmosphere that's just on the ship. Like it's very gloomy.
yeah, yeah, like the tensions are high, like because like you've got Brett and Parker like working tirelessly to try and fix the ship because they want to get off the planet. You've got Ash doing whatever Ash does, and then you've got Ripley just knowing that something is more than likely going to go wrong. And now that Kane is back with a parasite on his face, she's like, "Oh well, what do you know? I was right. You're not coming on board."
Mm-hmm.
Which we've gone over that part already, but
Yeah, but again, you also see her relationship with the captain. Also, like again, once again, they're not friends because, like,
yeah, or at the very least, they have a strenuous working relationship.
yeah,
At the very least, like
because like
it's
he's like, don't try and convince me, and she's like, I'm not. But then she actively is just like, you can tell they have had discussions like this before.
they butted heads. Absolutely, I think it's definitely one of those things where she will absolutely follow his orders. He is the captain. She does respect the chain of command. We do
Yeah,
see that much. But like when she sees bullshit, she'll call it out, and even if it doesn't make her a very popular person, she will still point like do it again. Like Parker was agreeing with her when they get to the med lab, and from all that, then of course we get the face hugger, like the operation on the face hugger.
mm.
We're given a little bit of a glimpse of what it's doing. Like it's feeding him oxygen. Ash is like, no, no, don't take it off. Let's not be too hasty.
Oh
And
yeah,
then again, that the whole thing of he says that so quickly, and then there's that moment of realization where he's like, well, just a minute. Oh no, no, I mean, don't be too hasty. It could kill him if we remove it. And I'm just like, oh,
yeah,
you slimy little bastard.
yeah. And then
Um,
when they use like, okay, we'll cut off a knuckle,
and
and then the blood, like the classic blood, which again I love how it's really brought up really well in Alien Romulus.
yes. We will get to it eventually when we get to Alien Romulus because they utilize the acid blood so well in
Yeah,
such a creative way in that film. I love it. But yeah, the acid blood
just going through like
is
floor after floor.
yeah, and again, it establishes a really interesting thing for later on because when the chest burster emerges, the first thing you think of is, oh shit, this is a monster, let's kill it. But again, Ash is like, no, don't touch it. And again, when you're watching the film, you're thinking, oh yeah, because we've just seen it has acid blood. If he kills it, that thing might also bleed acid and just fucking fuck shit up on the ship. Which of course we
Exactly.
later, yeah, but of course
Because
we
like
now realize that
Parker even brings up like when they first discovered like the blood acid, he's like excellent defense mechanism. Like he does compliment he's like excellent defense mechanism.
yeah, you don't dare kill it.
Yeah,
And it's again then that's what brings up the biggest dilemma for them going up against it then for the rest of the film. They can't use anything that will make it bleed, so of course they have to the best thing they can do is lure it and send it out into space, which
yeah.
of course they have the incinerators then.
And then they even have like the shock like baton because they think it's small. They're like
Yeah, yeah,
because like he's like okay, it shouldn't pierce its skin. Like he even brings up it shouldn't pierce it unless its skin is thinner than ours.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
It will give them a little incentive, but that's about it. And
yeah,
it's like yeah.
because
And
like because they're hoping that it like when they prod it with this thing, it won't like
bleed.
yeah,
Yeah. It's again just a compliment to just how tightly knit the script is because they think of every possibility, any question that an audience member might have, like, well, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Oh, well, they didn't attack the alien when it first came out of Kane because acid blood. you know. And of course, we know Ash was protecting it, of course, later on, which we realized. But at that time, it's like, oh, acid blood. It's not going to fucking kill it. We're not going to kill it. That's fucking stupid. We have to send it out into space, which, we'll have to, because again, we'll get to it. But like, we're into the part now where they're searching the ship. We had the fantastic chest burster scene,
Mm.
which again, Alien. I think again, the most fantastic thing about Alien as a monster is the xenomorph life cycle. It's probably one of the most unique life cycles in fiction. You know, you've got the egg, you got the face hugger, you got the chest burster, and then you've got like the cycle repeats itself. You know, it's such an amazingly unique way to introduce a monster into your movie.
Yeah.
That again, to this day, like I don't think I've ever seen like, okay, Covenant, I will say, kind of had an interesting idea with the spores. I actually
Mm.
did like that idea. I thought that was actually quite interesting. And we'll get to that because
Yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah. Well, while we're talking about the life cycle, like, because I brought it up, I think it was either today or yesterday, when we were recording the Alien Fire
mm,
Zombies. Like, there's so much evidence throughout the entire franchise. Like, and I'm talking about comics, the movies, everything. That the xenomorph did not come into creation organically, and that's what add, and again, and that's what adds, in my opinion, part of the fear factor.
yeah, it's a thing of like, again, the fear of the unknown. Where did this thing come from? Why does it exist the way it exists? If it evolved from into this manner, why did it evolve into this manner? If not, why? Who created it? You know, it's
Yeah, but there's so much evidence that it was engineered.
mm,
Now in the comics, they explored it that not even the engineers are the ones that created it.
yeah, it's one of those things. I think that there was a theory going around that because you know how you have the deacon at the end of Prometheus.
Yeah.
So the idea, because you see kind of carvings of the deacon in Prometheus, like when they're in the big chamber with the big head statue and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And I think there's I can't remember if it was confirmed in a comic or if it's just a theory at the moment where they worshipped this deacon species as like a god, or they found the species fascinating, or they marveled at it anyway, and then that species died off, so they're like, okay, let's try and bring it back, let's create our own version of it. And unfortunately, the experiments went wrong and they created the xenomorph instead. Because if you look in Prometheus, there's like a few, remember they go into that scene where there's like the bodies piled up and a few of them look like they have shit burst out of their chests,
Mm.
which I thought was a nice little detail. But so that's the idea. Yeah, they didn't. They create the Xenos in an attempt to try and recreate a species that may have actually been quite peaceful, but instead they just created this monster. And again, we'll get into more detail when we get into Prometheus and
There's
Covenant
another
Romulus. But yeah,
there's another theory as well, like that the creators of the xenomorph actually designed them as a test for sentient life. Sorry, spacefaring life, I should say.
hmm.
Not just sentient life, because you can have sentient life that do not travel to stars. Basically, any
Yeah,
spacefaring race.
yeah, yeah.
That and the test is how do they interact with the xenomorph.
Hmm.
Again, the engineers saw them like the idea is like the engineers failed the test because they saw them as essentially weapons, and unfortunately, you talk the humans are unfortunately in the same fucking boat. But again, it comes back to the idea of like again from that comic book issue, the Xenomorph Queen. I don't think, like in my opinion, I don't think she's a goddess. I think it's probably like the creator, because like the creator created these creatures in their image. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because again, the xenomorph is confirmed to be, what's it called, bio mechanical.
yeah.
It is a combination of like mechanical and biology. Again, it's what, in my opinion, I think David, in terms of Prometheus and Covenant, is trying to achieve the combination of being a synthetic but also being an organic synthesis. That's,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's it. Synthesis. Yeah.
yeah. But again, there's the fucking mistake, because even though that theory, like it's brought up, like there's still so much unknown. Like
Yeah.
okay, then like where is this species? My logic would be they're probably at either the edge of the galaxy or they're in the towards the center of the galaxy, like the oldest planets.
Hmm.
But either way, there's still so much fucking mystery. Oh,
Oh,
and the predators, their interaction with the xenomorph, they don't even see them as weapons. They use them as a fucking rite of passage.
yeah, yeah. They consider them the perfect prey.
Yeah. So like, unfortunately, we've only seen two spacefaring species in, sorry, three spacefaring species in the Alienverse. I guess you'd call it. The engineers, the humans, and the predators.
Yeah, well, we'll add predators because technically they are like in terms of like aliens and all them. The predators don't actually exist in that universe. It's the AVP universe. They would probably yeah.
I would rather use Alien because there's more movies.
Yeah, fair.
So like it's like with the riot inverse. You know, when you're you would. I suppose there's not actually there's not many things that have multiple franchises all connected to one thing,
Yeah,
except for the MCU.
yeah, yeah.
That'd
Uh,
be the only one. Everything else is pretty much no. It's very close knit.
yeah.
But either way, though, like there's just so much fucking mystery behind them. Like, and that's what's beautiful about the xenomorph.
Yeah, it's again probably one of my favorite movie monsters. Because my favorite movie. Um, and yeah, so we're on to like they have the chest burster. They're
They're
searching the
hunting down
ship now,
the cat
and
scene.
yeah, and it's a good idea because again, it's again very well written way to get them separated. The cat ran off, and they're like, look, good, we have to catch it because it's going to come up on the tracker again.
Yeah.
You know, like we go. So Brett's like, oh, okay, I'll go get it,
Well,
and
no, he's not. I'll go get it. Parker and and
Ripley like, yeah,
Ripley
go
are
get
like,
it, go get
yeah.
it.
He's like,
It's
why? Because
yeah,
because like he did because they were what they thought it was the chest burster was the cat.
yeah.
And they're like, okay, they like Ripley and Parker try and catch the cat because they immediately are like, okay, no, fuck, we need to make sure this doesn't happen again. But
Hmm.
then fucking your man Parker just lets it go.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, what are you doing, man? It's a cat. Like they actually have a bit I love it. Again, great little character moments where they're just kind of their tensions are high, they needed that laugh. But and then of course you got Brett then kind of wandering the ship, the bowels of the ship on his own. We get some great atmosphere. Again, the set design of the Nostromo is
Mm.
just chef's kiss. It's such a perfectly designed ship. But and of course we get into that chamber then which has the dangling landing gear, the coolant, and this is where we get the one scene from the director's cut I think they should have left out. And it's like when Brett's kind of he's like yeah he's taking his hat off, he's letting the cooling water from whatever the pipes are
Yeah,
above kind of just fall on him. He's kind of taking a bit of a drink of it and stuff like that. And the camera just for a split second is panning upwards, and you can actually see the xenomorph in a ball hanging from the chains. It is like they tried their best for that scene to make it seem like a blink and you'll miss it moment, but it's hard to miss like
yeah.
this ball of alien.
Compared to the other scenes with the alien
Yeah,
hiding.
yeah. Exactly. It just wasn't the best, and I think it does ruin the reveal then. So I think for the director's cut, I think they should have left that out as well. Because it's not in the theatrical release, so I think they should have left it out in the director's cut because it really didn't like the tail dropping down behind Brett. That's the best way to introduce the alien. That was
Mm.
such a because it's again because we still think he's chasing after like this little infant monster thing, and then he finds the skin in the cargo bay, and it's like the realization like again no dialogue, it's just a close-up of the actor playing Brett, and it's just his realization then when he's holding it, he drops it, and it's kind of that for us the audience then are like, wait, is that ew, god no. And
Well, anyone who's a fan of reptiles or a snake would immediately recognize what's happening.
yeah, like it's shed its skin, so it's grown, and then of course we see what it looks like, and it's the most iconic creature design ever. Like it's got the big domed head, no eyes, just completely black. The inner jaw, which is fucking amazing.
Also, the fact that what also adds a beautiful thing that they decided to do was the fact that like there's no blood.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
it's maybe you can maybe just see the jaw maybe cracking the skull open a little bit, but beyond that, there's no blood from what it does to him until like Parker and Ripley run back in. Um, which again, director's cut in terms of scenes being added. I wish they left the scene where like Brett's blood is dripping down onto them. I wish they left that into the theatrical because that was actually a very nice, very well, very kind of chilling shot. I think where the blood is just dripping onto the camera. But yeah, and then you see the alien. It's this big, huge, hulking thing, and it's fucking fucking Brett screams just as it kills him and drags him up into the cooling tunnels and stuff like that. And then that's it. That's where we get the characters coming back. Then
yeah.
just like reporting what they found, and again some fantastic acting. Like you see like Dallas, like just the look on his face, like he just doesn't believe what he's heard. Like he actually has to be. He's like, oh god, what the fuck?
Because again, just again for a remind context, even though there's Prometheus and a Covenant, where people have met like engineers, but here's the thing that again, if you remember the ending of Covenant, like anyone who had experience or who's met an engineer is gone.
Yeah, they're all dead.
Yeah.
Um,
So therefore, to this point of the humanity, they have not encountered any other alien life.
exactly. It's again the issues with the prequel. You have to find a way to make sure they don't a character
Yeah.
like certain things like like with Clone Wars, like
Mm.
because there's that one line in Revenge of the Sith. Oh, General Grievous, you're shorter than I expected. And then for the entire Clone Wars series, they had to find ways to write around Anakin and Grievous never actually meeting
Yeah.
properly, which is just hilarious.
And then also like, and luckily enough, as the universe expanded, because the inclusion of new movies and the connection of the movies, like for example with Predator, like Weyland Yutani is all about keeping their own personal shit secret. They're always about themselves. So like every time like like Weyland Yutani always covered up anything involving the Predator, as we saw with the movie Predator 2. Um, like,
Well, that wasn't the whaling company. That was just the government
ah,
for Predator 2. Yeah. AVP is the AVP movies and the AVP comics are kind of where they would start covering up the Alien and Predator stuff.
okay. But also, it doesn't. It also helps with the fact that the Predators cover themselves up.
Yeah, they just blow themselves up every time.
Yeah. Or because they again like chances are they always hunted. I think more in the tropics.
Mm.
So like you get an impression that like they didn't go into the seas often.
No, no, it was just one of those rare occasions.
Yeah. So like the idea that like and again as we said about like AVP like Wayne Lutani like Wayne Lutani clearly wrote that program into Mother and like they probably have all that shit set up in the AI specifically because they're like, well, we know for a fact that there are some kind of life forms out there.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of explained as a kind of a just in case kind of you do find something
Yeah,
kind of thing.
but as the universe expanded, like, and you learn that like Weyland Yutani has always been, doing shit fucking behind the scenes, like the fact that they go so far back as a company.
Yeah, and apparently, because apparently they're making a TV show now on Hulu called Alien Earth, and apparently it's going to follow a group of Wei scientists that actually discover xenomorphs for the first time. So that's kind of where they first learn of their discovery. So we're probably going to get an explanation as to why they program the special order 937 into like the mother and every android and stuff like that from
Yeah.
then on. Which I'm okay. I'll be interested to see how it goes. It's one of those things where, again, sometimes things just don't need an explanation with a prequel, but I'll still give the show a
Oh
shot
yeah.
and see what it's like.
Oh
If it
yeah.
sucks, it sucks.
I'm just saying, like it's always fascinating, like how, like when things get added in, like at a later point, like
Mm.
things start making sense. Again, like I said, like the whole like the fact that Wayland Nutani is such an old company in the Alien verse
Yeah,
that they had both experience. Okay, they first initially had experience with Predator or whatever the Yautja, and then because of that experience with the Yautja, that they then would have a clause where they had to always where space travelers would always have to investigate any hint of like potential intelligence signal,
yeah.
which then, pardon me, which then leads them into discovering the xenomorph, which
Uh,
then they hyper focus on for the remainder, like because unfortunately the Predator movies never go beyond modern day. I would love a Predator movie to be set in like around the time frame of the Alien movies.
and
Personally,
when it comes to Predator movies, because again, I think keeping them as separate franchises is a good idea, unless you want to do the team up stuff, which I'm always okay for. But personally, when it comes to Predator stuff, I actually think they should maybe have them take place more in the past. Like, I'd love to see a Predator movie that takes place in feudal Japan. Like, that'd be fucking
oh yeah,
amazing.
no, that'd be amazing.
That'd be epic. Anyway, we're going off the we're going off topic again. But
Well,
I do kind of.
we're talking about the Alien verse, so
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
we're on the border.
I suppose, yeah, we're kind of the extended universes and alternate versions, like the Alien, the AVP verse and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, I get you. I see your point there. Yeah, actually, yeah.
Because like
Um,
it's just fascinating. Like again, now I understand they were only connected to like they weren't connected initially,
yeah, it was just that
then
one Easter egg in Predator 2. Then, yeah,
and then event which then I think at some point I imagine this was Fox. It was probably a Fox decision that they were like, okay, we
let's make
need
comics.
yeah, let's make comics and then let's make a movie and like let's have these all happen in the same universe but just different time periods. And
Yeah,
again, that's one of the reasons why I would love to see a modern like sorry a future Predator movie, because like again the highest time period is always the year that the movie came out in.
yeah. I mean, I
um
wouldn't. I'm not gonna lie. Actually, the idea of a Predator roaming around like a station like Sevastopol,
yeah.
like we see in Alien, like, that would be kind of cool.
Well, I wouldn't say a Predator probably wouldn't hunt on a
A
thing like that,
station. Yeah, yeah.
but like a futuristic city,
Or like one of the colony planets and stuff like that,
exactly.
which actually the AVP games kind of goes into as well, actually,
Mm.
um, which is kind of cool. But yeah, where did we stop on there? Oh yeah,
Sorry,
Brett
yeah,
died.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they go into their plan then,
To
you
burn
know,
it.
to burn it, yeah, but to draw it out and throw it into the airlock,
Yeah, yeah.
and
They were closing off like the vents to give it like only
yes,
one direction it could go.
and it's the most claustrophobic scene in the film.
Oh god, yeah.
It's such a, and it's again, it's one of those things where like to make it feel so real, like I'm pretty sure they left like little act because there's you got Dallas going through the vents and like his headset falls off halfway through, and I don't think that was scripted, but I'm glad they left it in because it
And
actually adds more realism to it.
and then the woman's watching on the fucking monitor like
Yeah, Lambert's just kind of like, oh my god, yeah, you're safe for now. It's nowhere near you. It's just keep going until we'll tell you if we find something. And you've got just Ash looking on ominously as he just listens in to what's happening,
mm-hmm.
and it's you got Ripley just feeling very helpless at the moment, not knowing what
Yeah,
because she volunteered, she wanted to do it,
yeah.
but Dallas is like, no, it's my job, I'm the captain. Um,
In all fairness, it was his fault that they're in this situation.
yeah, I would say slightly. I'd say again, most
Most of
somewhat
the blame is
manipulated by
obviously
Ash,
yeah. Most of
but
the
yeah,
blame's on Ash. Don't get me wrong.
but he was still kind of compliant. He should have kind of listened to Ripley in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it is very well kind of just that entire sequence, just from the music to the beeping of the tracking device as it eventually starts picking up the Xeno, and just
Yeah.
Dallas Tom Skerritt's acting in that scene, like like it's he's been on edge like for most of the movie, but this is like he's shitting himself. Like he's like, I want to get out of here now. Can you just let me know if I'm in the clear, stuff like that. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
such a well done scene. And the alien, she picks it up, and of course, because it's a 2D tracker, like it's not trying to scan something on a 3D plane. So like she thinks, oh my god, it's coming for you, it's right at you, and then he climbs it. It's been underneath him the whole time, and it just waits for him. And it's the
Yeah, and
second best jump scare.
he's rushing to. He's like, okay, it's right. It's coming at me. It's coming at me. I need to get out of here. And then
Yeah.
he's like, okay, I'll get down to the bottom floor. And I think I think there, I could have swore I saw a brief moment when he goes down and he realizes, oh wait, because like he's realizing I just descended down,
Yeah.
and
Like there's
there's tunnels down here as well.
it's yeah, and then just that he's looking at the camera, and because again, it's jump scare done right.
Yeah.
It's like you don't even have time to register what happened. Like
Because all
you
you
don't
see
get
is
a
the
chance.
alien just reaching out with its claws.
Yeah, it's so well done. Like it's kind of oh, I'm looking at the camera now. I'm looking that way, and that's it. And it's and the screech of the alien is so fucking good.
Yeah, and
But
again,
it's
Better saying Aliens Fireteam Elite, like I love how they gave the aliens the proper screech.
yes, when they're kind of blowing up and shit like that from aliens, it's so good. Like I was saying that like earlier, like the sound. I think the only thing I wish they kind of did better with that game when it comes to sound design is I wish the tracker sounded more like it did in Aliens because they've
Yeah,
altered the sound a little bit, and it's just I don't know, it's not enough to bother me, but it's enough where I kind of notice, oh, they used a different sound for that. Okay.
mm.
Because again, the Alien tracker sound is just as iconic.
Yeah,
The doo 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 doo. Um, but so yeah, so we've got Dallas gone. No, as Parker says, no blood, no Dallas.
yeah.
Which is just again a horrifying thing. You're like, okay, how did it kill him then? Because again, the best thing with Alien, going back to Fear of the Unknown, is we never really see how it kills off the characters in the films. Like it's even in Aliens, like they kind of adhere to this a little bit, where some of the fates of the crew are left to your imagination,
Mm.
and of course with the director's cut, we do find out what
We
happens
out.
to Dallas and Brett
And
specifically.
again, like for a large portion, for a good bit of like aliens, there's just like what happens to all the townspeople.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
It's when you realize, then you find the nest and you're like, oh,
because if you're
oh,
looking at only the theatric versions, like the first time they're seeing like a nest is in Aliens, and it's
yeah, yeah,
when you see the townspeople, like they're like, oh my god. And then, but now when you see if you were to watch the director's cut of Alien first, and then watch Aliens, you'd be like, oh no. Once they're talking about like the missing colonists, like you'd be like, oh no, because
exactly.
you'll be remembering the director's cut.
Yeah, yeah. But again, I can understand why they cut it because it's a happy accident then, because then they bring it into Aliens with the nest and stuff like that, which I'm assuming James Cameron must have seen those deleted scenes of Alien, because the nest in Alien
It
is
is too,
almost
yeah,
exactly the same as you see
yeah.
in Aliens.
It's just not as
Um,
well developed
yeah, yeah,
because
and of
like
course, because in Aliens, Ripley doesn't recognize it either, so it's just like, oh
also
yeah.
the fact that like the aliens and Alien had like what weeks to build a nest,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
opposed to the alien that's on the Nostromo only had like what, an hour or two.
I think chronologically, the from the moment the alien is born, it's 24 hours.
Okay,
So over the course of a day, it kills all but Ripley.
yeah, okay. So yeah, like a couple of hours a day, like at most, it built that much of a nest in the
Hmm.
Nostromo.
And it's a nice set as well. Like for the it's again, if they were never going to make aliens, or if they did make aliens and they just rewrote the nest scene, it's one of those things where if they had left it in, I think it would have added more to that, again, that kind of Lovecraftian fear of the unknown, because
Mm,
it's turning Dallas and Brett into eggs. For at least
yeah,
that's the assumption anyway.
yeah.
And it just adds that, okay, so this is what it does to its victims. You yourself are broken down to your most basic biological matter and reborn as these
Yeah.
facehugger things, like these little
And
monsters
you can
that
see
continue the
like,
cycle.
yeah, like if again, it's like with frogs, like in real life there are frogs that will change their sex
Hmm,
if they do not detect, you know, another member of the like sorry, of the opposite sex in the area.
exactly.
So like it's again, it's a creepy idea that like if even so much as one alien was on Earth, it would kidnap a bunch of people, make a fucking nest,
Hmm.
which will then make the face huggers, which will then create more xenomorphs. You can definitely see how it can very quickly ramp up in numbers.
Yeah, like and I do think, again, I could be wrong, and of course anyone listening, you can I'll expect the paragraphs in the comments saying how wrong I am, but I think the biological, like the human shifting into facehugger egg thing, I think that's semi-canon. I think it's referenced once or twice in extended lore. Again, I'll do my research and confirm it for the next time we talk about aliens, but I think it is. And then of course it is confirmed that in the event that there isn't a queen, a drone can also eventually morph into a queen after like it's hibernated for a lengthy amount of time, so it can start making
Mm,
more eggs and stuff like that.
mm.
And then of course there's the royal facehugger, which is introduced in the extended cut of Alien 3, which I still think is a great thing.
Yeah,
Design wise, it's amazing.
again, you can see how the species is again, like again, not to say a perfect organism, but because in some cases there are flaws in them, but like you can definitely see how is it that like they can overtake
Mm,
a colony or a planet so readily,
yeah.
because there's so many, like the species has so many fail safes built into them, like from, as you said, like it's semi again, because of the director's cut of Alien, I will say it's canon that they can turn like other biomatter into an egg,
Mm,
and that's probably just to get the hive started. While a drone is like a drone probably that drone probably sorry the xenomorph that we see in Alien probably would have mutated into a queen at some point. However, because it probably knows it's in such a vulnerable state because it's by itself,
yeah.
uh,
It has to take out any and all threats first.
or build its numbers before
Mm,
going into that lengthy process of becoming a queen. So it's like, okay, we need drones, I need
yeah.
backup.
Mm,
So it's because think about that, like because like it captures two people, and there's three, and yeah, it doesn't go on the offensive all too quickly when there's three of them left. So you get the impression that xenomorph held back. It only like because the only time we see it act aggressively is when it was being hunted.
mm,
So there's a good chance that xenomorph was fucking waiting to capture them. Actually, no, because while the eggs are being made, it does actively kill two of them. I was just thinking there, like it was probably going to try and capture them for the sake of the face huggers eventually coming out and latching on. But no, it does very quickly kill Parker and your woman.
Lambert, yeah.
Yeah. So okay, never mind.
Yeah.
But again, like the fact that like it was those guys were very clearly turning into eggs, though.
Yeah, like that's definitely the direction they wanted to go in with it. And I think, again, I think that's why, because it just kills Lambert and Parker. So I'm assuming that's why they cut the scene, because like, oh, why didn't it drag them off? Because I think they needed to see, we needed to see, because they're like the last two survivors along with Ripley. So I think
Mhm.
it's kind of an important moment we see their deaths, and Lambert's death, fuck's sake, like the most haunting death in a
Yeah,
movie.
like the fact that it first kill, like even though she's right in front of it, cowering, it first targets Parker.
Yeah, because he attacked it, so
Yeah,
it kind of surmised you're the one that's going to be more difficult if I try and
yeah,
kill you. So I'll
but
take you out first, and then
but it takes its time with Parker though as well,
yeah,
and while it's taking its time with Parker, it's using its tail to be quickly ready to take out Lambert.
yeah, and it's
Because
such
Parker's still alive when you see the tail going up underneath Lambert. Parker's still like telling her to get out of the way,
yeah, get out, yeah, to get out of the room, something like that, and then of course the jaw comes out and kills him,
and
and
then tail.
oh, that's and it's just because, again, with Lambert, and again, well done to Veronica Cartwright. Her acting for that scene. Like we don't see anything. We just hear her screaming
Yeah.
in absolute like agony and terror.
Yeah.
And it's again, it's that whole like what makes Alien terrifying is that you're filling in the blanks. So whatever you come up with in your head of what that thing is doing to her, it's arguably going to be the worst thing that's being
Yeah.
done to her. It's like, and then yeah, like Ripley's reaction then when she sees what's left of them says it all. Like, because always we see Parker just there crumpled on the floor, like he's got a hole in his head and he's dead. And then all we see of Lambert is like her dangling bare legs and like blood seeping out from somewhere, and it's just like, ooh, no, I don't want to know what the fuck
Yeah.
the alien did to her. It's just horrific, and again, we've jumped ahead a little bit, but those deaths warrant, especially Lambert's, warrant being discussed already because they're just, it's just
Yeah.
again just such a well filmed section of the film.
But yeah, no, like again, folks, the reason why we're bouncing around is because there's so much lore, like to this franchise, and we can't really talk into detail about certain things without bringing up other things.
Yeah, because like there's a few times now we've gone into our thoughts on the other films, and I'm trying to hold back
Yeah,
as much as I
same.
can because I wanted to leave that for when we're actually talking about those films specifically. But it's kind of one of those things where you kind of can't help it.
Yeah,
Um, which again, I don't mind. It's the whole point of this video format we're doing now is again like side chat, as you said. We will veer off. We
yeah.
will
We'll
because
go on side quests.
yeah, and we're going to do our best to stay on the topic, obviously,
Yeah,
but this will happen. Um, but yeah, so we'll jump back a bit, and so we've got Dallas dead, and then you've got like fucking Ripley's like, all right, let's, unless anyone has a better
oh
idea, we'll.
yeah, yeah. We completely skipped over the big reveal.
Yes, yes. Well, before we get to that, there's again some little cool behind the scenes details with
Ooh.
so there's that scene. So of course there's that scene where Ripley finally takes charge. Like, all right, unless someone has a better idea, we blow it out into space. And Parker is immediately like, yeah, no, I'm not for running away. I'm for killing that thing right
Oh yeah,
now.
because Lambert is like, let's just get in the ship right now and leave.
Yeah, just take the pod. And she's like, Rip's like, no, no, it won't take three, it won't take four. We can't, because of course Ash is still here at this point.
Yeah,
And
and
there's a
Parker's just
scene.
like,
I
I
want to kill
want
that thing.
to, yeah.
Yeah, and Rip is like, all right, well, let's talk about killing it. It's using the air ducts, and in probably one of my favorite line deliveries and acting in the scene, it's like Ripley just raising her voice because Parker's in front of her, just, will you listen to me, Parker? Shut
Yeah,
up, and
because
stuff like that.
he's about to go off on try and hunt this thing by
Yeah, yeah.
himself.
So, from again, take it with a grain of salt. From what I've researched, this is actually seems to be what it is. Her yelling at Parker, that was actual anger from Sigourney Weaver, because apparently, Yaphet Kotto, and he did this kind of in a not in a malicious way, from what I understand. He just felt like, apparently, he again, take it with a grain of salt. He felt like that Sigourney Weaver wasn't kind of giving as good, as strong of a performance for this particular scene, because it's meant to be tensions are high, that she's like taking charge now. So he kept talking over her and interrupting her during her line reads for this scene. So that final yelling of him to shut up was actually apparently just genuine anger,
Mm.
because like she was fed up with being interrupted for that scene. And it gave us like a great line delivery, and apparently that's what Ridley Scott wanted as well, because he not all the time, but most of the time during filming, he distanced himself from the actors so that they could still have that level of stress and tension, because they wouldn't know how they want to act for this scene and stuff like
Mm.
that. So it actually put them more on edge.
Oh yeah,
And
I've heard stories of like directors being like, okay, look, we need this person to react a certain way for this scene.
mm,
I want you basically, I like telling the actors like, I want you to annoy this other person, so that
yeah, and
they
it
will
works
snap.
so well.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
it's a
there's
cruel tactic, but
true, but if it gets a good performance, I know Tarantino is famous for doing this. I'm sure we'll throw me sort of at him. But my favorite story for a behind the scenes thing, it comes from The Exorcist, and I don't know if you've seen that film. It's a good film, but so Max von Sydow is in it. He plays the priest that's performing the exorcism on, or one of the priests, sorry, that's performing the exorcism on the little girl in the film. And there's a scene in the film where they're performing the exorcism, and it's meant to be this horrible thing. Like the demon inside the kid is like making her do all these horrific shit, and Max von Sydow is meant to be like reacting very shocked and very horrified at what's happening. But each time they were doing the take, he wasn't really delivering the type of reaction that the director wanted. So apparently the director took him aside and he said, so Max, we've worked together for a long time. And when Max von Sydow was like, yes, we have. And he was like, so do you trust me? Like, as a director, do you trust me? And Max von Sydow said, yes, of course I trust you. And without missing a beat, the director walloped him across the face, yelled action, and Max von Sydow, like, for that scene then, like, it'll be a scene where he looks genuinely surprised and shocked and, like, wide-eyed. And that's because the director slapped him before he called action.
I like the whole, like, hey, you trust me? Like, the idea of him just having this, like, nonchalant conversation, like he's like, he has his arm, I'm picturing him putting his arm over the actor. He's like, hey, come on, like, hey, we've worked a long time, right? And they're walking, and he's just, directing him onto the set. We're friends, right? And the guy's like confirming, it's like, yeah. And then he's like, slap, back off.
Action!
Like, that's that's something that, like, again, like, actual friends will fucking do. Like, it's like, would you punch your friend for $1 million or whatnot? Like,
yeah.
Again, girls, some of them will be like, probably say no, but then for fucking guys, it's like,
I'm punching. Yeah. It reminds me,
especially if you play 40k or Magic the Gathering.
Oh my god. It reminds me if there's this video where, again, we're going off a bit of tangent and then we'll go back on track, but it's kind of like, there was this video I saw, I think it was titled like The 3 Stages of Damn, and it's basically like these guys that are all sitting around in a podcast, and one of them asks his friend, so for $10 million, and before the guy can finish, his other friend says, I'm sucking it. And the guy goes, let me finish. Damn. Like, he's just like, what the fuck? He didn't even hear what the caveat was.
But again, like, anyone who's like anyone who's listening to this, if you played Magic the Gathering or Warhammer 40k, like, how many miniatures of cards you can buy with that much money. Like, they are expensive hobbies.
Oh god, the amount of Lego I could get with that, holy hell.
Oh yeah, or Lego. And then again, unfortunately, it is predominantly guys that have those expensive hobbies.
Okay.
I feel like I just now completely shocked you.
Just this entire conversation is fucking brilliant. Okay, so we're on to the twist. We find out
the big twist.
Because Ripley has access to Mother now, she goes to consult the computer, and we find out about Special Order 937, which clearly states that in the event that an alien organism is found, they're to bring it back, and all other priorities are rescinded, but the most important thing is the crew are expendable.
Yep.
And it's like the most shocking reveal in the film, and just when you think, oh, okay, so yeah, we've been duped the entire time. Oh no, we have another reveal regarding Ash, where he knew not only did he know the entire time, he's a fucking robot.
Yeah, like he's a synth.
Yeah, and it's suddenly everything he does for the entire film makes sense. Yeah. Like, when you rewatch the movie from then on, when you're like, oh my god, this is, what the fuck is this? Is that, oh my god.
Yeah, and again, it's like what I said about like Dumbledore's big plan. Again, you said you're going to re-listen to Harry Potter. I'm going to send you a link after this video. Watch Dumbledore's Big Plan, and then try and listen to Philosopher's Stone.
All right.
And then, like, oh my, like, because it's just like, oh my god,
like it all of a sudden things are falling into place. What the fuck?
Because like they go year by year. All they do, yeah. Again, it's fucking brilliant. Again, like, anyway.
But yeah, so it's revealed Ash, like, he knew, not only did he know about the Special Order, like, Ripley's running off then, and like he blocks her from leaving. Yeah, and he stops her from leaving, he starts attacking her, and then like a lot of people were wondering what the fuck he was doing to her with the magazine, like, was he asphyxiating her or something like that?
Yeah, fixating.
And so it turns, he was going to do something much worse, because Alien Isolation expanded on this. He was going to shove that thing down her throat all the way.
The
like
magazine.
complete yeah, like completely just block off her esophagus. Like it
Mm.
wasn't just a simple, oh yeah, I'm just going to put this here to block it far enough to block airways. He was going to put it all the way down there.
Oh.
And it's, oh yeah, Alien Isolation does a great job of expanding a lot of the
Well,
lore. We'll get in.
we definitely get evidence like that. Like he had the strength to do it.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
like
And
there's that
then,
scene where he just slams his hand into the wall, like because you can hear the impact that made.
oh, absolutely. And like he rips some of her hair off for God's sake. And then like when Parker and Lambert come back in, then like even Parker is like this big fucking built like a brick shithouse
Yeah,
character. Like he can't fucking take Ash off her. And like he
yeah.
like
So
then
he
Ash
resorts
kind
to
of
the fire
squeak.
extinguisher.
Yeah, yeah, and just knocks his block off quite
Yeah,
literally.
the
And
fire
it's
extinguisher like actually gets properly damaged if I recall, like throughout all that. So like again, like it's showing like the durability of like the synths, like
yeah, it's
because
such a
he's not even the combat model.
no, he's literally just a scientific and research and stuff like that. And so when you
And now
just see just how much it takes to fucking kill him, you're
yeah.
like they built
Now the
these guys
reason why I'm
fast.
bringing it up, folks, is because like throughout the again like the expanded stuff with the comics, the games, and all that, like there are other models since that get introduced. There's the class. There's him. I think he would have like maybe he would have been a working. No, he's clearly more advanced than a working Joe.
Yeah, no, Working Joe and Working Joe are they're a different brand. They were made by I
Oh, a
think it's
different company.
yeah, Seeks and Cybernetics, and
Ah,
they're kind of the we're gonna build these things on the cheap kind of thing. So they're the Working Joes are a very kind of cheaply made,
okay.
like basically just fast production, so you can have like a good worker force for your space station or something like that.
Okay.
And then with Wayland Yutani, they went for the more human kind of thing, which is why like canonically there aren't actually like for Wayland Yutani anyway. Canonically, there aren't that many synths androids in the universe. Like you've got Bishop, you've got Ash, you've got the Davids, Walters, and then you've got Andes from Alien Romulus, and like
Mm,
they're so expensive to create that
mm.
like there are just so few of them
I think
in the universe.
the well in the in Aliens Fireteam Elites you do get two combat synths.
Yeah, which
Um,
is I think that's a new I think that's a new addition as well. They seem like very basic models though. Like
yeah, I think
they're
they're just I think they might have been made by the same company that makes the Working Joes. Then,
probably yeah.
but they probably are a bit more durable and whatnot. But either way, like even going back to David, like we see how David is in Prometheus and Covenant,
Hmm.
which like again they are significantly faster and stronger.
Yeah, yeah. He's definitely a predecessor to what Ash would be,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
but again, like I feel like because Ash was meant to be like again, as you said, like just purely science and research.
Hmm.
He probably is again. He is going to be stronger than a human and all that, but he's not built for combat. Like
No, he'll do what he needs to do to ensure the success of his mission. Which, well,
yeah,
there's some expanded stuff that when we get, I'll talk about it when we get to aliens because there is it kind of has a connection to that. But he is definitely if it means he carries out his special order, he will do whatever it takes. And so like
yeah,
he's been protecting the alien the entire time. He's
yeah.
been trying to find a way to get the crew killed. And like there is actually a deleted scene. It was partially filmed. Because one of the things that always confused me was why does Ripley's nose start bleeding randomly when she's like going over the mother computer? So apparently there was a deleted scene. It's partially filmed. They never finished it, but basically there's a scene where Parker and Ripley almost get sucked out into space. Like Ash actually, like they almost succeed in luring the alien back to the airlock, but Ash actually sabotages it behind the scenes, opens the airlock, causes the room to decompress, and that's what causes like Ripley gets some burst blood vessels basically. And so
Ooh.
yeah, so that's kind of it. Like from behind the scenes from the start, he has been trying to sabotage and either lure them in to get killed by the alien, or if he has to, he will just kill them himself and make it look like an accident, basically. Um,
I don't know how he's gonna make her spawn in the magazine an accident.
oh, I think at that point she was just going to like fuck it. I'm just going to kill them all because
Oh
like
yeah,
again, it took all three of them to take him down.
yeah.
Like
So
he was absolutely of. I think if they hadn't come back in time to save Ripley, I think he would have probably succeeded in killing them.
yeah,
Uh, but and then of course so we get that fantastic fight scene. He gets beheaded, and even then that doesn't fucking stop him.
yeah.
Um, and then after that, you've got the I will say it's a good effect looking back on it, where like it's just the
Oh
head
yeah,
being
oh
home.
yeah, like the way, like, and fair play to the guy, like he clearly had to have that liquid shit in his mouth for the dialogue.
Yeah, like I think it's milk, but I think they might have don't use because it does look a bit thicker as well,
No,
a little bit.
it looked like almost like
A little bit.
watery, so like to me,
Yeah.
so it's, I
Maybe
think it's like skimmed milk,
maybe like well, yeah,
like
that
a
makes more
low
sense
fat
actually.
shit.
Yeah.
Because like I
And it
remember when my ma used to buy, remember like Avamore like low fat milk. It came in the pink bottles.
yes,
That
yes.
shit was basically fucking water.
It was. I don't know why the
Oh
fuck people liked it. Ugh. But no, actually, now that you think about it, it might have been skim milk. Actually, it makes more sense. And yeah, it's just this entire section where just he goes over like again, great line delivery from Ian Holm throughout that entire monologue. Just
mm-hmm.
you have no idea what you're dealing with, do you? The perfect organism, and just like just Lambert's like, oh, you admire it. I admire its purity. A survivor, and it's just such a. Sorry, I'm gonna be.
Yeah,
I'm kind of tangenting, but Ian Holm just in this film, like he was
yeah.
a fantastic actor, and this is probably one of my favorite films he's been in after Lord of the Rings, obviously. Um, but like they're finally getting the truth of the matter. They're realizing like fuck me, we've been fucked this entire time. And Wayland Yutani, the company wanted
Yeah,
the alien for their bioweapons division. He's been
yeah. Sort of like what I brought up with the engineers, how they
Hmm,
viewed. Now again, this is going back to this one theory from the comic, and again, like even then, like it raises like it's one theory, but it still adds then so many more fucking questions.
exactly. Oh, it's
Again, I'm more subscribed to the thing that the guy saw being like the original species creator as opposed to an actual goddess. But then again, given the eldritch horror esseness of the aliens, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of cosmic god, like eldritch god
like just
behind
a
it.
higher intelligence
Like
type of
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
like it was like this actual like goddess, like eldritch being. Like I wouldn't be surprised, but I part of me likes the idea that this entity that we saw in the vision is just like the species that made it,
Mm.
like as a whole, because like that is slightly less terrifying than an eldritch being.
Yeah, pretty much.
And again, it's like what I said, they pulled back the curtain a little bit and then they quickly fucking closed it.
Yeah. What's this? You'll never know.
Forget what you saw behind the curtain.
Yep. No. No. It's pay no attention to the weird
Yeah, I need
kind
to,
of goddess.
yeah. So you talked. Is there any other behind the scene facts you can share? Well, I'm because I need to send you an image of this thing.
Oh yeah, please do. I'm trying to think. Is there um that I'm aware of? No, at least not until we get to like Aliens and maybe a little bit of Alien 3. But with Alien, no, it's kind of it's to the best of my knowledge. That's all I can remember when it comes to behind the scenes stuff. Just again, it's like Lord of the Rings. I think like with Lord of the Rings, just like Alien, like it's a great movie, but then when you look up like the behind the scenes stuff, it's just as interesting as the film itself because like it's so like some of the best things that happened in Lord of the Rings were like not scripted, which
Okay,
is
fun
always great.
fact. Apparently, they gave it a new name.
Oh,
Yeah, it's no longer Xenomorph Goddess.
oh,
It's
what is it?
now just referred to as Woman in the Dark.
Okay.
So again, leaning a bit more into this eldritch horror.
I'm okay with that actually. Is I'm okay with that. I don't mind that as long as it's nothing like goddess, empress stuff like that. I'm like, okay, don't go too far. That's a bit too far. Like woman in the dark. I'm
Yeah,
actually okay with that. I'm
I
curious
sent
to
you
see
the
where that
image
goes.
that of
Oh,
the
okay. I'll
guy's
I'll have a
vision.
look at that now. Let's have a look.
Because like
Oh,
again, humanoid esque shape, but
yeah,
like there is definitely a coldness in the way she's looking. Like she's looking at the guy having the vision.
yeah.
Like regardless of how far he is. Sorry, she is seeing him.
Hmm. They're kind of going for a like an eldritch horror version of the Borg Queen kind of thing. Oh, that's a Star Trek reference.
Mm.
Um, I'm actually okay with the design. I don't mind it. Um, again, depending on how they write it, this could be really cool, or they could fuck it up royal. And I'm hoping they don't fuck it up royal.
Like, and you can definitely tell like this is like again, just the idea of all those swarms, like the drones just surrounding her, like.
Yes, it is actually a very nice panel. The art style is actually really nice. I like this.
Mm. What was it? I
Oh,
see them, an insatiable mass of riding, gnash and dead, hunting for any sprig of uncorrupted life. Beetles on the corpse of creation. She's with them. Her eyes are blind, cloudy, and still, unburdened by the breath of or heartbreath. I am utterly beneath her notice in all the universe. She's queen among lepers, a goddess among maggots, and yet I know she has noticed me. She's looking for me. Like, no, that's also potentially a horrifying idea. That, oh my god, I just noticed. You see the fucking snake thing from Prometheus?
really?
Yeah, like, okay, look towards her legs. Zoom in and look towards her legs.
Oh shit! I see
Yeah,
it.
hold on, you folks. I need to drag this onto the side window, onto the screen, so you can see what I'm referring to.
Yeah, I'll have it showing up on my screen about now.
Hold on.
There we go.
There you go. For some reason, the thing wouldn't minimize. So here we go, folks. So this is the entity that I was referring to by the xenomorph goddess. But apparently she has a new name. And then, boom. Oh, hold on. There you go. The fucking original thing. Like, and then you see the face huggers. Like, oh. And so the idea that she might be hunting down this person that knows of her existence. Like, oh god. Now I think that in this image, what could have been really better, like besides from having that little detail of the snake, the serpent. There, I don't
Mm.
know the actual term for it yet. But I think we should have gotten a bit more different types of xenomorphs in the image, other than these drones.
Yeah, I think in the background you can kind of see one of the aliens drones, like with the ones with the ridged skull. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
for the most part it's the smoothed ones, which
yeah.
I
The
don't mind.
drones, yeah.
I quite like them.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. They're iconic and they're really cool. I just think though it would have been if we saw more variations. Like if we saw the Praetorian or two, because like we have like again, it is very cool to have this tiny little the thing that creates basically the deacon. No, the deacon was created by a big, massive facehugger thing.
Yeah, yeah. As a result of like David putting black goo
Yeah,
into Shaw's husband.
yeah. But the fact that we see that little serpent there as well, though, like that's a
Mm.
nice detail.
I like it. I will say, and it's something. Okay, for all the flaws of or issues I or other people may have with Prometheus, I will say like there are some elements that were introduced that I kind of were okay, and I don't mind when they're being referenced. Like again, going into Alien Isolation a little bit, because they do kind of there is a level where you actually I'm going into spoilers for people who haven't played it, but there's a section of the game where you actually play a flashback level where you discover the derelict, and you go
Ooh.
in and you explore the ship. You see the space jockey, but the idea is that basically this is you're playing as characters that found the Nostromo flight recorder. So they're the people that caused the plot of the game to kick off to begin with. And they follow the flight recorder's data back to LV-426. They find the ship, and because one of the things it actually does fill in a little bit of a plot hole, because one of the things with aliens is, well, if Weyland Yutani doesn't believe Ripley's story, why didn't they just follow the distress signal from LV-426? Like, because it was going strong when the Nostromo discovered it, so it makes sense that another 57 years it would actually still be going. But no, so it turns out in Alien Isolation they fill in that little plot hole in that the crew that finds the ship in isolation, they shut down the signal, and the technology for the signal is actually very similar to what you see in Prometheus. So I'm like, it kind of blends it well, I think, just
Hmm.
slightly. Um, and then there's again Romulus kind of I think does a decent job with it as well. Where again we're okay going into spoiler territory for people that haven't seen Romulus yet. We will go into more detail when we get to it eventually in these discussions. But they do bring the black goo into it,
Yeah,
and I will say
again,
they
and also as well as the hybridization experiments.
yeah, yeah.
Again, it's one of those things that I really liked was the fact that like even though those movies were not a commercial success,
They're still
Um,
part of the
yeah,
lore,
and
you know.
Ridley Scott is like, yeah, like I'm gonna tweak some stuff, like because like my fans did not react as kindly to them, but I'm not gonna flat out abandon the
Yeah,
concepts.
no. So like, so yeah, so like this time the black goo is a thing where it's always been a part of the alien, the xenomorph DNA. It's
Mm,
primordial. It has been within them for as long as like again before humans could were even like walking basically,
yeah,
and
it's a
which
core
is
part of their DNA.
yeah, yeah, which again something good that Alien Romulus does. It completely retcons the whole David created the Xenos idea, which it is confirmed that's what Ridley Scott wanted.
Mm,
He wanted to go in that direction. That David was the one that created the Xenos that we know and love,
mm.
which was a stupid fucking idea, and I'm glad Romulus completely retcons it.
Well, they retcon it, but like not complete. Like it's just its own strain of xenomorphs.
Yeah, yeah. So this time it's just a thing of it's hinting that okay, so this isn't the first time that these things have been made, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Because they clearly in Romulus they clearly make their own face hookers with what they experimented on.
yeah. But
Um,
it's like what I've been like what I've been saying, like because like the way these creatures are, they could not have happened like naturally. Like
yeah, like
they would have. You can't have an apex predator this efficiently. Otherwise, it would have basically driven its own self to extinction by the act of consuming all prey.
absolutely. It is that again. It is kind of the xenomorph is essentially the top of the food chain
Yeah,
across the board. Like it's there. It's one of those things where like its life cycle, regardless of which version it is, the facehuggers, the spores, it's it's
it's
it's
too
almost
efficient.
it is basically that whole thing of an unstoppable force. You know, like
Mm.
how do you stop that? I would argue Ripley is the immovable object. Um,
And
as far as like the first four movies are concerned, she
yeah,
kind of was because
like
technically, like she wipes out the species at the end of Alien Three.
her whole idea is fuck it. Like again, like so quickly, her mentality is from in like in Aliens is nuke.
Yep,
Like
like that. Like that's her like her main cat. Like again, that was her condition for going to
yeah,
begin with. Like you're going to destroy them, right? You're not going to bring them back. You're just going to wipe them out. It's like yeah,
because
okay, I'm in.
she knows how like how dangerous one is,
Yeah,
and
like imagine an entire colony of them. You
yeah.
know.
So again, and it's like what I said, like, and that's exactly my point. Like, because like let's say they as we saw they make a nest on with using the colonists. There's now a queen. Now what? Like, there's literally no other fucking form of life that can
Hmm.
now populate that planet. Because if any life, I know the planet was being terraformed at an accelerated rate, and they theoretically maybe some single cell creatures would have eventually developed. But as soon as they came out of whatever fucking primordial ocean, it's dead because
Yep.
the xenomorphs are just too efficient at killing.
Exactly. Like I do know there is a comic. I do know there is an Aliens comic. I think whether it's old or it's more recent, where they did kind of explore a. I think it is. It's either the Xenomorph homeworld or it is a Xenomorph homeworld. Like it's just one of many that is where it's vastly populated, and it absolutely is. You're right on the mark. Like they are the dominant species. Like they absolutely they're like a plague of locusts. They just infect they impregnate every species they can. They build up their own hive, their own horde, and they are like the planet is just a wasteland of xenomorphs kind of
Yeah,
thing, and it's
and
it's so cool.
there's no like, and no organic life would evolve to be like essentially to be like that with
Yeah.
no especially with no like and especially with the level of social behavior that they have,
Mm,
like again like no, it's a very strict social system because they are clearly pack creatures,
yeah.
um, but like again they're clearly engineered, which brings me again to the woman in the dark, which I gotta say it is a much better fucking title than
It is a
Xenomorph
better
Rise.
name, I will say.
Yeah, the woman in the dark who's potentially either an eldritch being that is somehow cosmically connected to xenomorphs. And now this Colonel Marine, the Colonial Marine, is only connected because his exposure to a chest burster and whatnot. Because like how if they're absorbing some of his DNA, it is theoretical that it could be a two-way system. He just
Hmm.
happens to survive because it was
Yeah.
surgically removed. So whatever connection, whatever DNA was being transferred, clearly he must have gotten some of it back. Like, sorry, he
Hmm.
clearly must have gotten some. Sort of like a baby when I can't pronounce the word for some reason. The cord, umbilical cord. God damn it.
The umbilical.
Yeah, thank you. But okay, but anyway, there is clearly some kind of an exchange of DNA,
Yeah.
and this is what's allowing him to tap into whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
again,
Which
we get some answer, but then there's like
hmm,
five more questions
it
that
is.
pop up.
And again, like the idea of like someone having that connection after like a facehugger or embryo experience, like Ripley had that in Resurrection.
Yes,
She could hear the Queen. She could feel the other xenomorphs as they were roaming the ship. You
yeah.
know, it's so there is that kind of like
And
again like
how is it that they can communicate? Because like they communicate way too far to be pheromones and whatnot.
yeah, I think because I know again I know it's a game, so take it with a grain of salt because it would be a gameplay mechanic. But for Aliens versus Predator, particularly the one I played, which was back in 2009 2010,
Yeah, the
great
360.
game. It's on Steam. I recommend anyone play it.
I
It's a
have it
good
on
game.
360.
It's such a good game.
No, I
Um,
could actually download and play it now. I could if I wanted.
Oh yeah, I was playing it for a while there. It's the Alien campaign is still the best one, just because it's full. It's not scary. You're the one doing the scaring. I love it. Anyway, um, because of course the mechanic in that is you can hear the Queen calling you regardless of where you are located in on the planet. So there is, it's almost like there is kind of like a telepathic. It's actually because it's the same. It's like bees with a beehive. Bees have some level of a telepathic link with their queen. So I think that's kind of, I think it might work somewhat similar to the xenomorphs in that sense, where it's just like
But the thing is, though,
they're
it seems like it shouldn't work through like the level of structure and the vast distance that we see the aliens operate in the movies.
yeah. Well, maybe that's why like it's kind of like maybe it depends on how many of them there are. Like the
Like the
stronger a
Geths.
xenomorph. Yeah, yeah. Like the stronger the xenomorph presence, the stronger the signal. Like each one works as a conduit. So if the queen wanted
Mm,
to contact one specific one, the message would travel through each separate one until it reached that one. Again, I love theorizing these things, especially when
yeah,
it comes to like stuff like the Alien universe, and then again, like the Mass Effect and stuff like that has so many things to theorize as well. But it is. It's one of those things where like, and again, I'm content with never having a full answer
oh yeah.
for that stuff. You know, it's
Like
one of those things
the
where
woman
like,
in the dark. If the woman in the dark is never, if the mystery of the woman in the dark is never answered, I would be okay with it because like again, is she a like because the idea is because like right now because we know nothing. Is she a species that initially created the xenomorphs? That's because again, like there's a theory that they are a test to see how, for a spacefaring species. Like in order
mhm,
to pass the test, it depends on how you interact with them.
hmm.
Um, is she some kind of eldritch being that is like that's cosmically linked to all like the queens? Like we don't know.
Yeah,
All
like
this.
we don't even know if she's a chest burster for all we know, it could be like a human that's like infected, like like the biological eggs kind of thing. Like for all we know, that could be the process. We'll never know.
Yeah, like
And again, that's
like because again, like all we have is this guy's thoughts, like him describing this nightmare,
mm,
and the thing is clearly like we can definitely tell it's definitely not just some crazy nightmare his brain concocted because why would he concoct such a figure
mm,
when there's no reason like he probably because we never seen anything like her, so like clearly there must be some level of like entity that he's connecting, that he's tapping into, and again
yeah.
that's just horrifying.
Absolutely. It's so good.
And sorry, again, the way the artist just drew her, just looking like the look on her face is also just horrifying as well.
It's just that kind of again. It's kind of like she's not looking at you; she's looking through you.
Yeah, like you are absolutely. Again, I can see now why the nickname Xenomorph Goddess was a thing, because like that, like you are beneath her.
Yeah, she. It's that
You
again.
are
It's looking at
food.
like yeah, like my existence is beyond your comprehension. The reasons I do what I do is beyond your comprehension. You are nothing.
And yeah, and the fact that she's just surrounded in a, she's clearly on the ground in a hive, surrounded by xenomorph
Hmm.
drones and the face hugger and whatever
The
that
weird
snake
snake
thing.
thing. Yeah.
Oh, oh.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. It's, oh,
Uh, I might actually start picking up the Alien comics more. I've been meaning to pick up the omnibuses of the Aliens and AVP stories. Um,
we should get back to the movie because
yeah, yeah,
we're
we're going we're again we sidetracked.
but we
So
stayed on
yeah,
topic. We did.
we did. It was all thematic with what we wanted. It was all going according to plan, like
So
Palpatine.
yeah, yeah, the reveal of Ash, the deaths of Lambent and Parker.
Yeah, and then we have the self destruct, which again, no
Oh
matter how many times I watch this film, the self destruct has me fills me with anxiety. Like I know Ripley's gonna make it, I know
yeah,
she reaches the Narcissus, but it's still like such a like again from how it's shot to like there's no music, it's just her running and
and the
grunting
countdown.
and the countdown, which the best alarm system for a spaceship ever. Like it gets your fucking attention.
Yeah, and I love how like she even starts pleading with the AI.
Yeah, after she should turn the cooling units back on. Yeah, because she has to backtrack because the alien's blocking her way. Which I found out. If you actually read the details for the self destruct, she did the wrong process of deactivating it, which is I think that's why it didn't work. Like she was so terrified that she just did it the wrong way.
Oh
Because
well,
you know how like she pulls the levers down and then that's when the cooling units pop up and stuff like that.
yeah,
She was supposed to push those levers back up first and then put the cooling rods back in, but she'd put the cooling rods back in first and then went to push the levers. But because she did it in the wrong order, so that's a factor as to why the system didn't turn back on. Which again, I think that was an intentional choice because the details are written there like clearly for anyone to see as you're reading them. So it's clearly Ripley was just so like shit your pants terrified she just did,
yeah,
which is very realistic. It's
yeah,
such a very well done sequence. And everything about the self-destruct scene, about her trying to escape, getting Jonesy and all that, it's so fantastic. And of course,
okay.
uh,
I do want to say this.
mm,
I love my dogs. I
mm,
absolutely fucking love them. I tend to be very loyal to my pets.
mm.
Every pet that I've had, I've absolutely fucking adored and loved. However, if I was in Ripley's shoes, I would have been just I would have pulled an Ashley and just I say Ashley because Mass
Oh,
Effect,
Mass Effect,
yeah,
yeah.
because she tells basically a similar story. I'm gone. I'm not waiting around for my pet.
Oh, okay.
Now, mind you, when she uses it, now don't get wrong, I'm not defending Ashley because like she's using that story as a defense for fucking
Space racism.
yeah, and I'm like no,
No.
because one like the dog in the story is a pet. It is a non-sentient life form, whereas whereas the topic that you and Shepard were talking about is about sentient life.
Yeah. Like, I don't think Garrus would appreciate being likened to a dog.
Now, mind you, he's fucking loyal as one.
Oh, yeah. Though a lot of fan art
Like,
has his personality being very cat-like, which I find also hilarious.
I'm just gonna say this: Garrett, if Garrus was a dog, he would be best boy.
Oh, he would. He already is. He already is the best friend.
No, he's your brother. Again, that's why like I can't like even if I was to play a femme shepherd, I would still romance Liara. Like,
I respect it.
yeah, because again, Garrus is like he's your brother, and then as I said to you also like Tally's then your little sister.
Yeah. I get it. It's again, it's the whole point of the game is experiment and romance who you want. But when you find that system in the game, you kind
That
of
tells
stick
a
with it.
really good narrative. Like, and in all fairness, it tells a really good narrative
Yeah, it's
between you and those three characters.
yeah. Like I've replayed
Oh,
Mass Effect so many
and
times that
Rex is the big is like your uncle.
yes, and he has to be alive. Like he has to survive.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's Mass Effect's one of those things where no matter how many times I play it, like I will always end up like sticking to the same choices and variations that I've done just because it works. But I will do different variations, like especially when I'm doing a Renegade playthrough because I want to see how different that is.
Oh yeah. Like I would always be like I'll be in my Renegade of Mass Effect 2 and 3. I'm a renegade, but as soon as it comes down to, my original crew, I go Paragon. Like any
Hmm.
interaction with them, I am nice. I'm respectful. But anyone else, I'm like fuck you.
Yeah, no, go fuck yourself.
Anyway, back to Alien.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
yeah,
no, her going for
and
the cat. I'm just like, oh my god. And
I don't know.
the funny thing is, she never gets back to that cat.
Yeah, Jonesy. I think there again. There's like a side comic that kind of says that basically Jonesy was taken. I think uh, Ripley left her with like a neighbor or something like that that loves cats. So when Ripley never came back, Jonesy, lived a nice quiet life and like lived happily with her new owner, with his new owner, and died and stuff like that. Which,
Yeah,
it's yeah, it's a sad thing. The only other the true last survivor of the Nostromo after
yeah,
Alien 3.
yeah.
Ah.
Is the cat?
Yeah, which I'm kind of hoping at some point we might get the Neil Blomkamp Alien movie with Ripley and Hicks coming back, and they just ignore Alien 3. Um, that would be so cool. Oh, that. Oh, did you not know that?
No, I don't know about that.
Oh yeah. So basically, after Prometheus didn't do well, there were talks of taking Alien back to its roots, which eventually Covenant tried to do and didn't really succeed in doing.
Yeah,
Romulus succeeded in that. But there was, because Neil Blomkamp was at the height, like of course this was after like District 9 and Elysium and stuff like that. And he had said so many times in interviews that he'd love to direct an Alien movie. And he had been talking with Sigourney Weaver because he'd worked with her in, I think it was, he worked on another movie with her. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll get back to you on that one. But basically, he was pitching this idea to her of what he would do with his Alien movie, and she liked it, and so they did bring it to Fox, and they were actually considering it as well. But then Ridley Scott interfered and was like, "Okay, so for my next movie in the Alien series, I'll bring back the aliens. I'll call it Alien Covenant, and you don't have to get a different director to do this stuff." And they went with because this was after The Martian came out as well. So they were
Mm.
like, oh, Ridley Scott made The Martian, and that won awards, and it is a good movie. I will say, The Martian's a fantastic movie.
Didn't like it.
Fair enough, fair enough. The book's also quite entertaining, but yeah, so after The Martian came out, and they're like, okay, yeah, no, we'll give Ridley Scott a second chance, and his second chance was Alien Covenant, and so because of that, we may never get the Neil Blomkamp, because there was concept art and everything that
Mm.
Neil Blomkamp himself made. Like Hicks came back, Newt was going to come back. It wasn't going to be the same actor, but Newt was going to be back, and she was going to be much older. I think the movie was going to act like as a passing of the torch between her and Ripley kind of thing, if they did
Mm.
decide to continue on after that. But it looked so interesting, and I'm just very sad we never get that. We'll kind of never get that.
Mm. So yeah, we get. So yeah, she fails to stop the countdown, pleading to Mother. Mother's like, "Bitch, no."
Yeah, no, no. You now have 5 minutes to evacuate the ship. Um,
She get. She goes back to see if there's anything she can do to get
yeah,
the fucking xenomorph to move away from the ship.
yeah,
Sees
yeah,
it's gone. She's like, "Oh, I got lucky." Gets onto the ship. She
yeah,
thinks
yeah,
it's all. She thinks it's all grand.
yeah, yeah. We get the typical Hollywood. Oh well, she's a female character. We have to have a little bit of the sex appeal. Um,
Yeah,
which
she's queuing up to, go into what's it, hypersleep.
yeah, yeah.
She
Um,
goes back to the bridge to set the final coordinates on all that stuff, and
Yeah, yeah, and
then
then the alien's just
cut.
right there. It's so well, because again, you don't notice it. It's like
Yeah,
it blends in so well. And I will say as well, again, during the destruct sequence, this is where she finds the nest and she finds Dallas and Brett turning into an egg. We'd already talked about that,
yeah.
but we'll just glance over it. she kills them both with fire,
Yeah.
and it's very traumatizing.
After
And
her former captain pleads
for
with
her for him to kill her, yeah,
yeah
for her to go, and it's such a, and again, Aliens does the same thing then, where they see the nest, and that colonist is saying, "Please kill me,"
yeah.
and it's one of those things where it's what could have been if they left the scene in, but I'm kind of glad they didn't as well. But anyway, yeah, so she's on the Narcissus or the Narcissus.
Whatever the name of the ship is.
I, I,
um,
I'll have to look up.
but
I think it's
I
Narcissus.
love the
Yeah.
idea like the xenomorph first blocks her path.
Mm-hmm.
She gets desperate, backtracks to the fucking Nostromo command deck, and while she's fucking doing that, the xenomorph is like, okay, she's ran off. I have an idea of what, like, it's clear the xenomorph can understand what the fucking thing's saying, so the xenomorph's like, okay, she's backed off. Now to go hide myself.
Yep. Yep. And
I'll
it's
I'll get comfy right. I'll get comfy right here and have a little snooze. Because like
yeah.
it took a ridiculously long time for that xenomorph to react after she discovers it. It must
Yeah.
have somehow been a fucking sleep.
I think it was in like a hibernation kind of status kind of thing, which is again part of their biology. They can
Yeah,
actually, which Romulus even confirmed as well. Like
yeah,
it
yeah.
can it can slow down its metabolism naturally. Um,
But the
but
idea that it sneak like it chases her off to then get onto the ship and then lies down for a fucking nap.
it's such a, yeah, but it's again, it's a good kind of jump scare kind of thing. You're just
Yeah,
like, oh my
yeah,
god, the pipe moved.
yeah. Like it's a ridiculous concept. Um, but like the fact that it went to sleep is a bit of a ridiculous concept. But again, the idea that the xenomorphs, again, as we said, they are clearly more intelligent than they appear. There's also the theory of the fucking woman in the dark,
Mm,
that then gives more credence to their fucking intelligence.
yep.
Like maybe it was like, okay, I clearly failed to build my our fucking numbers here. Wherever this person's going, there'll be more people, or whatever.
Mm,
There'll be more creatures or whatever. So like it was clearly going to hide to start, like, to try and build it, to essentially possibly set up a nest wherever the ship fucking went.
yeah.
Like clearly it was intelligent enough to do that, and again, which speaks to their fucking intelligence, and which is sort of fucking horrifying, because if this thing was a mindless creature in its purity of killing, as what Ash theorized, it would have just fucking killed her.
Yeah.
But
I
it
think,
didn't.
yeah.
It immediately went to hide and go into a hibernation state.
Yeah, I think you could argue it was waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Like it was probably like, because I do actually remember there was going to be like this alternate ending. Again, this was before they actually filmed the thing, but one of the original endings for the script that I think they changed it because I think it didn't do well with test audiences or like with the test readings. So one of the original endings for the film was going to be that Ripley does die. The alien kills Ripley, and then the final report, the log, the final report of the
Mm.
Nostromo, the alien was going to mimic Ripley's voice.
Ooh.
Like that was going to be that was one of the original endings pitched, but they changed it because that it's going to be a bit too grim, a bit too dark, and they kind of wanted to end the film on a high note, kind of thing. Which
Mm.
I'm glad they did, because as interesting as that would have been, I'm glad they stuck with the no, yeah, Ripley is triumphant and blows the thing out of the goddamn airlock.
See, I would love that type of moment to happen, if they ever do bring the woman in the dark. Like,
Hmm.
like the first, like before. Actually, you know what? No, if they're ever if they were ever to try and bring the woman in the dark into the actual movies, I would want it to first be teased with like a xenomorph community, like basically her or whatever, using a drone or whatever as a mouthpiece, and
Ooh,
then end there,
kind of.
like a little teaser for the future.
That would be kind of cool. Kind of like what the what's that thing called from Mass Effect? The
Reapers.
no, not the Reapers. The thing on Novaria. You save the queen or you kill it.
Oh, the Rachni
The
Queen.
Arachni, yes, the Arachni
Oh
Queen.
yeah, yeah.
Kind of like what it does with the corpses of it's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, oh, I love that idea so much. I kind of want to see that now. That'll
Oh
be
yeah.
actually.
Now mind you, I imagine the voice of the woman in the dark being extremely fucking creepy, like
Oh
like
yeah,
just by your design. But again, I wouldn't be surprised though if fucking Hollywood is like, no, no, give her a sultry voice,
yeah. Like I think it's
something that you could something that could seduce you, as long as you don't look at her. Can you
oh god.
imagine?
Oh, it's Hollywood and it's Fox. I wouldn't put it past them. Though for some, I don't know, like they if they did go with like, oh, she's meant to sound like regal and kind of this, I'd get Helen Mirren. Good voice, good actor. She could actually pull off kind of a
And then
not. I don't mean in terms of like a sensual thing. I just mean like if they wanted to get some, if they wanted to kind of go a different route and make her a bit more intimidating. I'd say Helen Mirren would be a
yeah,
good idea.
a voice that is both intimidating but like at the same time you
Eloquent.
yeah that has but you sorry eloquent but has power.
Yes. I think that would probably.
You know who would also be a good role?
Hmm?
The voice actress for Sheila from Shadow of War.
Oh yes, I know you're the British one. Yes. Ooh. Because yeah, it's been a while since I've actually gone into that game. I'll have to listen to that voice again. But I have an idea, a recollection of what she
Mind
sounded
you,
like.
like
That could work.
I love how Warner Bros. Like went into the fact that Shelob is a spirit entity, not just a giant spider. Like
Yeah.
that was oh, because like when I read the scenario and discovered like Shield's mother is a fucking spirit that just happens to take the form of a fucking spider, I was like, oh god, that means Shelob is a spirit entity.
Which makes Sam all the more badass.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It absolutely fucking does. And it will explain why Shelob even also hunted down orcs because like she wasn't on the side of Mordor. She was on her side.
Yeah, like she had no allegiance one way or the other. It's just whatever was beneficial to her at the time, that's what
Yeah.
she would go
Oh
for.
my god, she's like a dark version of the Ents because the
Oh,
Ents were the same way.
oh God.
Yeah, the Ents were a third party until Sauron fucked them over.
Oh God.
Yeah, yeah. Again, this is what I like about when some franchises have grown. Like again, Warner Brothers Interactive, there was some gray area because the Silmarillion is just a bunch of short stories to explain some of the like it was just built from notes of Lord of the Rings,
Yeah, yeah. It was
and
just kind of
then
iron out the details kind of thing.
yeah, and then fucking it talks about how Shelob and Ungoliant are fucking spirit entities of unknown origin, and Warner Brothers was just like, that's a big gray area right there. What if we may allow her to transform into like a fey form?
Hmm.
And like, yeah, like and it fucking works. Mind you, her spider form in the game looks so much more terrifying than the one in the movie. Ooh.
Ooh.
As someone who has arachnophobia, like the movie one doesn't strike me that bad.
No.
But the one in the fucking game, and like when you see, like you only see her in that form like once, but like when you see it, it's just like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
But anyway, oh god, but yeah, it speaks to like the aliens' action in that like the final act, clearly speaks to some level of intelligence.
Yeah, like my idea for the main actual movie, not the alternate where I described.
Yeah,
I think the alien was probably going to wait until Ripley was in hypersleep before it made a move, or it was going to just ride with her unknowingly for the rest of the journey back to Earth and
yeah,
then make
and
it.
then yeah, and to
Um,
like what I theorize that it would then attempt to build a nest somewhere.
yeah, yeah. Ripley discovered it. I think a bit before it, or
Yeah,
well,
because
it revealed itself
well,
basically.
no, I think she brushed off against it, and then it reached its hand out. Then
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
just
it was
as a
like I think it was
reflex.
like her elbow took
Yes,
off of it.
yes. Oh, and then yeah, we've got this fantastic kind of very intense scene. You've got the lights blinking
Yeah,
inside
and
the
she's
Narcissus,
backing up like
it going into the locker kind of thing, and I do like again, well done to again, fantastic acting on Sigourney Weaver's part, where like she's staring at the alien, she's finally getting a good look at this monster, and like it's just this look on her face where she kind of like she just takes a deep breath and is like, all right, this is it's now or no, it's now
now
or
or
nothing.
never. Yeah, because
Yeah,
she's
kind of.
trapped. She's on a very small vessel
Yeah,
with this
it's
thing.
just like it's just you and me. One of us is dying here, and I'm going to make sure it's not me. So
Yeah,
it's just this fantastic scene. She's singing, the Lucky Star song, and like just getting the gas ready to just shoot out of the vents and stuff like that. You've
yeah.
got like this fantastic, again, the lighting and the just, it's again no music, it's just the atmosphere of the actual environment followed by the aliens screeching and Ripley's just very heavy breathing of anxiety,
Mm,
which still gives me anxiety when I watch it.
yeah,
And it's just that it's then finally just that final look of the alien as it's looking to like just shoot its jaw at her, blows it out into space and harpoons the fucker like fucking
yeah. And then, for
Moby
good
Dick.
measure, actually then turns on the ship's engines to blow it away.
Yep, and just fantastic
It,
ending to
like
the film.
she, because again, like she must they must not have been too far from the Nostromo, because didn't they say in Romulus they found its remains near where the Nostromo was?
Yeah, yeah, like that's where the film opens up. Like it definitely gets blasted back
Back.
towards the ship, or it's in that vicinity anyway. Because a lot of people were bringing up, well, because it blew up with a nuclear explosion not once but twice. So wouldn't why would there be any debris left? And I'm just thinking, well, if you think about it, the initial explosion more than likely blew some of the debris away. The third
Yeah,
explosion took out what was left, and then the third explosion was just for good measure, basically. So
yeah. But the
it's
thing is, though, like when okay, the engine goes off, the alien is blown back, and presumably behind the ship was the Nostromo. So the alien gets blown back because again, there's no force in space, so by its inertia should just keep on going, back all the way back to the actual Nostromo.
wreckage. Yeah, yeah.
But then the Nostromo's explosion, like, should have then knocked it away.
Um,
Or if I'm misremembering the sequence of events, the Nostromo exploding should have then blown the debris forever in all directions, unless something was to stop to get into their path.
yeah, I suppose. Well, yeah, because the ship explodes first, and yeah, Ripley blows it out the airlock. Um, yeah, honestly, I will say that's probably just down to the Romulus. I think Romulus is just
Made a mistake.
intentionally it made a mistake and is probably intentionally forgetting details so the movie can happen, which I can, okay, that's kind of a stupid thing. They could have found a better way to do it. I thought originally the idea was going to be that they just found Big Chap floating through space, and that's how they brought it back, but no, it's literally near the wreckage of the
Yeah,
Nostromo. Okay.
they reference now maybe we're both wrong, and they don't mention the Nostromo wreckage.
Well, no,
Uh,
because it's in the opening of the film.
is it?
Yeah, when that drone ship is picking up
Yeah,
the
because
asteroid.
you see it float, you see it navigating between wreckage. Yeah. You're
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
So
yeah,
yeah, I think it is one of those things where it's
that
just like,
wreckage
all
should
right,
not have been there.
yeah, I can kind of I kind of agree to that. They need the movie to happen in some way, but
Now, mind
I
you,
yeah.
we're pointing this out while we're both huge fans of Star Wars, and yet the space combat in Star Wars is actually impossible.
That's true, but I think because the difference between I suppose the difference between Alien and Star Wars is Star Wars.
Alternate,
It,
yeah, different
Well, not just
universe.
alternate. It is primarily Star Wars is more science fantasy than it is science fiction. Like a lot of the science that works in Star Wars wouldn't actually work in real life. Like you got the lightsabers, you got light speed, you got the laser guns and stuff like that. You've got the
Yeah,
ships that make noise in space. With Alien, they do try to adhere more to
to
science. Okay,
science.
there's a big nuclear explosion in space. I doubt that would kind of happen. But again, it's one of those things where some suspension of disbelief is necessary. But for the most part, the film and the universe adheres to like scientific reasoning for the most part, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it is one of those things where yeah, with Alien, there should have been a little bit more kind of
Like, if
caught
you
on with that one, but
now,
it's
don't
yeah.
get me wrong though, the way they could have fixed it is they went to the planet,
Mm,
and and like they could have had it so that the xenomorph, the remains of the xenomorph, or again, actually, it was in hibernation the whole time, which is
mm,
terrifying.
mm.
While it was in hibernation, it was blasted just close enough to only enter orbit. Of
Yeah, and
all.
then you could still have it be in that rock formation.
Yeah,
I think for Romulus there were so many different ways they could have explained bringing Big Chap into it. But I think for the version they went for, I think they clearly just wanted. Oh, look, it's the Nostromo. Remember that?
yeah.
Which I think I will say
A
for
bit of it's a bit of a nostalgia hit.
I think that's one of the more stupid examples of a nostalgia hit because it was just there
I
to.
don't know. Like Disney has done terrible things with the nostalgia hit.
True, but
With some of their movies.
well, that's what I mean. Like, it's not the worst, but I just mean it's like one of the more like it's there. They clearly did it for the nostalgia rather than
Yeah,
just to have it make sense. Which is
yeah.
yeah. Again, we'll get to Alien Romulus in a bit. When we get to it, just as a spoiler, I don't think it's a bad film. It's not
Oh
great,
no, it's
but
I thought
it's
it was great personally.
I it's no, it's one of those things where because again, nothing's ever going to be as good as the first two
Oh
films.
yeah,
I think just you go into that. I mean, but for me, it was more so. It's like
for me it's easily the third best movie.
oh yeah, no, I would absolutely put it up there with the first two films, and just before three because I three is a guilty pleasure for me as well.
Yeah,
But
like one of the things I really loved about Tree was like it expands on the xenomorph lore, which again I'm always again you know me I fucking love lore.
oh yeah, well
Um,
the assembly cut, yeah, it does absolutely.
like the idea of like okay here's what happens if a xenomorph impregnates you know a quadruped creature. Here like oh there's this is how a xenomorph queen is born. Like like all that is good shit for me.
Yeah. Like again, like I can agree to that. It's I think, and then just I think for me, Alien Three was just too nihilistic for my liking as a story. Like it was just too grim, too nihilistic, and coming off of a high note that is aliens. Like it's just
I didn't mind it. I sort of liked the idea that Ripley hated xenomorphs so much she was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice to stop Weyland Yutani
Oh no, that I
from.
didn't. That I didn't mind. Like if you're gonna do an Alien trilogy, I think that's how you end it. You know, like I absolutely agree with you there. Like Ripley's final decision. We're jumping ahead to when we eventually talked about those movies, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you may as well just bring it up here now, just what we're talking about Romulus. But no, like my thoughts on Romulus is just like I don't think it's a bad movie by any stretch. It's not the worst sequel that this franchise has brought. I still like I'd call it an okay movie. Like
Hmm.
I have issues. I have my issues with it. We'll get into that when we talk it when we finally
Hmm.
get to talking about it. But it's a movie that I don't hate that I saw it. I enjoyed it for what it
Yeah.
was, and I will have when it comes out on DVD. I'll happily get it, add it to the collection. I'll get the Blu-ray because I think it is a movie that should be enjoyed on Blu-ray just because of the cinematography. But yeah, anyway, that's my kind
Yeah.
of tangent on Romulus.
Unfortunately, we can't go. We won't be able to go into details talking about it too much because one, it's still in cinema at the time of this recording, so
Yep.
which means we have no, unless we are willing to spend money to refresh our mind and then quickly go somewhere to then record our thoughts,
Mm,
which no.
yeah. I mean, fuck, I'm broke at the moment, so
Yep. So unfortunately, we have to wait for
yeah.
it. Now, don't get me
Which
wrong. We, as I said at the start of this video, we have plenty of videos that we're going to cover. We're going to be covering again. We're starting with the Alien franchise. We'll then do Predator, and then we'll do AVP, and then we'll move on to Star Wars. Which, like, Star Wars is going to keep us busy for a while.
yeah, we've got the 9 movies, and I think we did say we're going to include what's it called, Rogue One in there as well.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
yeah,
Now,
um,
mind you, some of the talks about some of the Star Wars movies might end up being fucking two-parters
yeah. There's
because
there's
there's
there's a
a
lot,
there's a
particularly
lot.
the not so good ones.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say which ones I think are not so
Mm,
good. I'm going to leave that to the people
mm.
listening to interpret because I just want to see the comment section
Oh
war.
yeah, and
Um,
also the other thing is, me, you are also in terms of compared to Alien, we're also much more knowledgeable of the lore in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, now my knowledge really mostly just extends to the Clone Wars series and the films. I think I have a brief passing knowledge when it comes to like the comics and some of the books. Like again, I'm listening to Plagueis at the moment. It's a
Mm,
great book. I
mm.
recommend anyone listen to it. Anyway, sorry, we'll get onto that. Oh no, well, I suppose we have finished now.
Yeah, we pretty much we're pretty much done.
Yeah, Ripley blew it out of the airlock. She gave her final report as the
Yeah,
survivor of the Nostromo, and it ends with her in hypersleep.
yeah. There's
And
nothing else
yeah,
really to talk about because, like, as you alluded to earlier, it was initially meant to be a solo movie.
yeah. Like
Um,
there was no intent for a sequel to be made with it. And again, like I love Aliens. It's a fantastic sequel. I think again, James Cameron. He can do sequels. Terminator was a great movie. Terminator 2 was an even
mm,
better movie. I still think if I had to choose my favorite when it came to Aliens, I would still choose Alien. But I love Aliens
oh
just
yeah.
because it's. I think James Cameron. Again, we'll go into more detail when we
Uh,
cover it. But
like, to be honest, with you, like, it's like, you know what this reminds me of? It's
yeah.
like fucking Oda with One Piece. Like, he had an idea. He's like, you know what? This will be a, you know, finish it quickly, move on.
Mm,
But then it just fucking blew up.
yeah.
Like, because that's what happened to Oda. Like, One Piece was meant to be 5 years, as a 5 year comic. Manga.
When did
But
he start
then
writing it?
I don't know. We're I think we're in like 25 years now.
Oh God.
So like, yeah. So dear God,
Yeah.
um,
That's going to be starting its final arc in January or February, I
we
believe.
have now started the Elbaf arc.
Ah.
So, which was one thing that he really, really wanted to get to.
Ah.
And now that we've reached it, I, it is widely believed that Elbaf is going to be the last arc before like the final arc. So it's like the second last arc.
Mm.
Which is people. All people are like, it better be long because pretty much every straw hat in each arc has gotten some kind of like big power boost, except for Usopp. Um,
Oh yeah, like if his slingshot doesn't turn into a 50 cal, I'll be very disappointed.
no, he's never going to use a gun. Mind you, we saw his father do something. For the first, his father has not been shown doing anything throughout the entire 25 years.
Oh
But
wait,
we
we finally see his dad?
Well, no, we've seen his dad a load of times, but he
Oh no,
never does.
because
But
oh,
he
because I
never does anything.
oh yeah. Well, I'm just saying because keep in mind, and for the people listening at home, keep in mind my knowledge of One Piece so far only extends to the live action on
Yeah,
Netflix. And for those of you that are probably vomiting at the idea of that right now, I will say I didn't mind the Netflix One Piece. I thought it was actually pretty okay. And the
it,
fact again, Oda signed off on it. He was like watching
yeah,
them like a hawk. So I
yeah,
think as far as anime adaptations go, it's not the worst.
yeah. But the thing is, we finally get to see him do something serious for the first time in the
Ah,
manga,
okay.
and it's holy fucking shit. Okay, you know how like there's a scene in the live action where you see Mihawk slice the ship in half, where basically essentially an ear slash.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he does something like that, but with a gun.
Oh god.
He takes down an entire ship with one shot, and so like, yeah, we don't know exactly what he used. All we saw was he has a big ass rifle, um, and then it resulted in like a nuclear explosion. So people are like, did he put hockey in that bullet, or was it like some kind of special bullet? Like people are like what was done to the like how did that result in a big explosion? But anyway, but the thing is like yeah, we saw a brief glimpse of Usopp possibly getting observation hockey, but he hasn't gotten a big upgrade since. And the thing is, this is going to Albath is his big thing ever since pre time skip. He want ever since he met the giants, Dory and Broggy. He's like, I want to go to Albath and become a great warrior of the sea.
Right.
And now he's going there, the land of the Vikings. So everyone's like, please let him come away with some kind of new like fighting tactics or abilities and whatnot. Like have him actually fully awaken his hockey, because like he only used it by accident last time.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, folks. So yeah, we're again. We'll eventually talk about One Piece when we get to season two.
Yep. I will say again because I enjoyed the first season because again
Yeah,
again as I said my knowledge of One Piece is pretty much only that. I've never read the manga. I've never watched the anime. I don't mind the live action show. The cast was good. I thought it
Oh
was
yeah,
well
no,
written.
the,
I do have issues, which we've discussed
yeah,
in the past.
yeah. My only
Um,
issue again is the fact that Zoro doesn't use tree sword style.
yeah, and mine has more to do with just certain instances of dialogue. But that's again, we've if you guys are interested, myself and Celtic talked about it. It's on
Yeah,
his channel.
it's actually what sparked someone to push us to do the Ludo chat videos, which
Yes,
then sparked
get
us into doing these videos.
it's amazing how things fall into place.
Yeah,
But yeah, and just for the final thoughts on Alien as a film. Okay, so for the most part, as you probably know, we were talking about the director's cut. I would say if you're watching Alien for the first time, watch the theatrical cut and then watch the director's cut,
yeah.
because I think the theatrical release, it's the better experience, and then the director's cut is just a nice way to kind of give you like nice little Easter egg details and other stuff that you never really made
Mm-hmm.
it. And then for Aliens, always watch the director's cut.
Yeah.
Just always watch the
Now,
director's cut.
I was gonna say we should definitely rate these at the end of each movie, but obviously you're gonna go with a fucking 5 out of 5.
Oh, no,
Fair.
I was gonna 10 out of 10. It is probably my favorite. Again, comfort movie, but also just one of my favorite like science fiction like horror films.
Yeah.
Like it's just a very well made movie and well acted and stuff.
Now, for me, now if I was to just completely judge this, like now I'm gonna try and judge this movie completely by itself, with
Hmm.
none of the extra lore or anything, influence me in what way. Um, for me, it would be a 4 out of 5.
Ooh.
Yeah. Um, just because, again, it's just certain behaviors are it's like again it's just certain interactions, like again like the xenomorph chasing her off, basically away from the ship to then sneak on to then go into to basically go into hibernation. That I'm like, okay, that's fairly weird. um the fact that again, if I was to just go based on the theatrical version, the idea then like there are two bodies, like there's two people who just vanished. Like, why didn't Xenomorph kill them without any kind of explanation? Like,
Hmm.
yeah, that would have been a mystery.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, the director's cut makes up for it because we then get the egg scene.
Well, no, because the I think the director's cut is one of those things where it's like in the theatrical release, I think you're just supposed to think, okay, it killed them off screen, and then Parker and Lambert are the only deaths we see on screen,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
but
And
the fact
then,
that Parker references that like there's no body or anything like that, like
well, that's what I mean, because like it's kind of implied. You can take that then through implication that it's he killed Dallas somewhere else. That's what I again when I watched the film for the first time. That's what I took away from it. But again, the director's cut is like, oh no, it was turning them into. If we had kept the scene in, this is what would have happened to them.
right.
Kind of thing.
Well, I guess again, that depends on how you interpret that scene.
Hmm.
Like again, that's how you interpreted that. Like, just simply killed them off screen. I interpreted that dialogue from Parker like, okay, it took them away. Like, why did it take them?
Hmm.
That's how I always took it,
Oh, fair enough.
and I never really enjoyed the idea of that. But like again, the director's cut gives me a bit of fucking closure with that.
Hmm.
So like there like again like there's some moments where it's just like, like this doesn't really make terrible sense. Like there's some really there's some stuff in there that's clearly just in there for the plot. Again, like the whole like going back for the cat.
Now, again, I will defend this because, again, with from what we see of Ripley, like she's not without empathy, and Jonesy, I think Jonesy is meant. I think it's her cat. I think no, I think it's the ship's cat, but I think she really did like the cat or something like that. So it is. It
Right.
is one of the things where like, because again, you want your hero, especially for film, you don't want your hero to leave the pet behind. Like in any movie, I know your methodology is if I'm in danger, I'm fuck me first, kind of thing. Which fair enough, but like in a film, especially because you know how like in films it's like, oh yeah, if you see like someone killing like a kid or something like that, you're shocked, but you're like, oh no, okay, I wonder what's gonna happen next. If you see them kill a dog or a cat, you're like, you monster, I'm gonna jump in here and and kill you myself, kind of thing. So I can understand like they for film reasons, obviously film logic. Oh no, we have to save the pet, we have to save the cat or the dog, kind of thing. um I think, yeah, I don't mind it because it's, again, it shows the kind of character Ripley is. Like, she's willing to save her, like, her cat as above all else as well, kind of thing.
uh, like I understand where you're coming from, but like given her situation, like it's very much like her running to try and rescue to help out the other two people. That was fine for me in terms of like establishing like okay, she's a selfless person. Um, but like then the cat bit, that's when I was like, okay, now you lost me in terms of that behavior. Um, but so yeah, sorry. Like again, it's just again. Don't get me wrong. Like again, 4 out of 5 is not bad.
No, I know. Hey, I get it. It's I may not agree, but I do get it. Oh.
But like no, but everything else about them, like besides some in my opinion flaw of logic, like some small flaws of logic. Just to clarify, small flaws of logic.
Yeah.
Before you think I'm
No,
taking
no,
a
no, no,
torch to the
no.
film. It is an absolutely amazing movie.
Oh yeah, and
And
again,
again, there's a reason why it started off as a solo. It has then since fucking blew up into comics, other movies, games. It expanded. It was eventually fucking connected to another sci-fi,
franchise,
yeah,
just
franchise.
because of an Easter egg.
Yeah, like because of the to respect the two fucking directors had for each other, or the writers had for one another. Like, and again, just the deep fucking lore. Like as a whole, the franchise is a 5 out of 5 for me.
Mm.
But like, it's just that again, I'm looking at this movie like isolated as a whole. Like by itself. That's all I'm judging on.
Yeah.
But everything else is an amazing, absolute movie. 5 out of 5. But as a solo act, it's a 4 out of 5.
No, I get that. I respect that.
Yeah.
Because I think one of our friends, well, Valkyrie, from Littlesport, I think she watched the movie for the first time herself this year, and she was saying
Ooh.
like her biggest complaint with the film was just she just didn't like the pacing was what put her off it. She did say she preferred Aliens a little more, but for her,
The
what kind
pacing?
of
Like, what was wrong with the pacing?
I honestly, when it comes to people watching Alien for the first time, that's especially the first film. I have heard that as a complaint. Like, they just such a slow pace at the start before things actually kick off, because
Because
like
it's
they
establishing.
I know, but I can understand. It's kind of like, because that's kind of my thing with the Two Towers. Like, don't get me wrong, fantastic film, I love it, but
Oh yeah, the action doesn't kick in until like the end.
honestly, no, it's not just that. It's the ends. Like, honestly, that's the only section that
Yeah.
kind of, like, again, well acted, well written. It's just the pacing kind of puts me off a little bit for that. So even in the extended cut, like, and I still
You know what?
think it's
We should
a
add a look.
perfect trilogy.
We should probably do the Lord of the Rings, like the new Lord movies as well. Like,
Oh, I'd be happy to talk about
oh,
Lord.
again, folks, this whole fucking series is just growing.
You're
There's so
seeing,
much nerdom going on.
you're watching the genesis of something wonderful.
Again and again, this is not to once again advertise this YouTube channel, but the Super Collin Brothers, they're now doing a chapter by chapter like book club of the Harry Potter books. Like they read a chapter every week, and then they make notes. Now again, these guys have already read the books like who
Mm.
knows how many times, but like they're now doing it again at a slower pace, and then they then do a video every weekend. Tomorrow, the next video is actually uploaded. It's going to be uploaded tomorrow. They're currently on Prisoner of Azkaban, and basically I'm watching their videos on their new channel called Through the Gryffindor, which is what they're, because they don't want to put this on their channel because like this is purely about the Harry Potters, where their other channel is about like Actually, it's all about their interests in terms of movies and books. Now, mind you, they do predominantly put Harry Potter stuff up, but they do also have like stuff about like the Disney movies,
Hmm.
which I don't watch because I have issues with Disney.
Who doesn't?
But at the end of Through the Gryffindor, they read a review, and the reviews would have questions, and as they're trying to answer the question, you then see them actually create a video that will show up on Super Colin Brothers, like a what if, like a series that they did not too long ago was what if James Potter kept the invisibility cloak instead of lending it out to Dumbledore, because like Dumbledore actually asked about it and James gave it to him, and because like Dumbledore had a suspicion that it was a deadly, one of the Deathly Hallows, and so the idea is what if Dumbledore never asked for it, and it was like,
Hmm.
and James had it the whole time. So like, so you literally see one of their what if videos being created while they're doing another video.
Oh, fucking great.
So like, this is essentially what's happening.
Yeah.
Like we're
Um.
like, oh, like this issue, and then like, ooh, we should probably talk about it.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. And I'm looking forward to all of this now. It's gonna be, and I'm again because I'm very, for me personally, I'm looking forward to introducing you to Stargate. I know you've crossed the line on Star Trek. I
Yeah.
respect that. But I'm excited to get your thing with Star because I know you love lore. Stargate has probably some of the best
Okay.
lore.
You know what? I'll just because you're our good friend, I will allow this.
Hmm.
I'll allow this instead, like just like on top of this Stargate.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's your cup of tea, but I think you are a fan.
Hmm.
I will allow Doctor Who.
I have no qualms against that.
Okay, I will solidly pull the red line down on Star Trek, but I will tolerate Stargate and Doctor Who for you. Okay,
Okay, you know what, I appreciate that,
because
and
like
of
you're
course,
because in all fairness, you're going to be doing the One Piece stuff with me, so like it's
yeah,
only fair.
fair
Mind you,
enough. No,
my thing is shorter.
really, One Piece.
Live action.
Oh, fair enough.
No,
Oh yeah, because
because we're not doing the anime.
yeah, no, we're not doing the anime.
No, I would rewatch. No, don't get me wrong. I would fucking rewatch the anime if I had a reasonable fucking source.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, the only source I have is Crunchyroll, and to my knowledge, they only do the English subtitles. I'm just gonna double check that.
Ah, okay.
Hold on, because I don't want to disparage a streaming service without I don't like saying something definitively, and then just to be wrong. So
Hmm.
my compulsion now is to actually fucking double check. So give me a
Yeah.
sec. Crunchyroll.
Yeah. Oh, and
Because
for
to
the
my knowledge, it is very much like One Piece is subtitled only.
hmm.
Uh, in the European servers, just to clarify, yeah, it's still only subtitles. And unfortunately, VPNs do not reliably work
Yeah.
uh, on fucking streaming services anymore. Remember the day when every fucking YouTuber was advertising like fucking a VPN?
Oh, NordVPN and all
Yeah,
them. Yeah.
like, oh, use this to watch things. Like, I'm like, yeah, no, it doesn't work anymore. Like, Netflix caught on.
Which is, to be fair, that's just a dick move on Netflix's part.
Yeah, like, hey, you're getting my money out of what fucking way, like.
Yeah, just put everything onto it for fuck's sake.
And but yeah, no, and the funny thing is, like, Funimation are the fucking dubbers for One Piece, and
Hmm.
yet, even though Crunchyroll bought Funimation, they still won't do the dub in Europe.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
it's it's annoying. It's one of the reasons why I can't do. I have not been able to properly binge One Piece
Hmm.
because I have nowhere to bloody watch it.
Right.
I would happily subscribe to any service that will let me watch One Piece from start to finish.
In the dub, yeah.
Because like I like the voice actors, the English dub voice actors,
Yeah,
and
I think
also because I do a lot of recording, I like the ability to be able to just like because I have my telly set up, so I look at the center of my tellies and use my peripheral vision, which is why I'm very good at it in terms of Ludosport.
Mm,
Because I'm already always I'm using my peripheral vision in everyday life.
yeah.
So like what I like to do is, especially when my brother's asleep, I would have my headphones on. I would be basically listening to a show while I'm recording the game, and you guys are listening to the game audio. That's how I also avoid burnout from all the recording I'm doing. Is like I keep myself entertained with other things while I'm recording, and then I pause whatever show I'm watching and then unmute my mic when I need to add commentary.
Whoa, pardon me.
So yeah, there's some behind the scenes of how the Celtic Nerds does his videos.
Yeah, it's oh god, it's making them is it's I find making videos it's fun, but it's also kind of like a little bit stressful because it's
Yeah,
you're figuring out what to leave in, what will keep viewers' attention. But because for me as well, because the big issue I have is like microphone level, like volume level for the microphone, which is why I record like as I'm doing right now, like I'm recording the audio for this separately on Audacity, and then I have to find now I won't have to really sync it up with anything for this video. I can just kind of have it come in anywhere. But when it comes to like actual like the actual like with the Alien Isolation playthrough 2 minutes like I actually have to actively find a way to sync up the audio properly
yeah,
with the gameplay footage, which again it is kind of easy, but it still takes some time,
yeah,
you know. So
and
it's
which is one of the reasons why you seem to stick to only one Let's Play at a time, like from what I've
kind of
seen.
yeah. Sometimes yeah, other times it's kind of like so like I'll kind of switch in between. So it's like okay, so I did a few episodes of Tomb Raider. Now I'm doing Alien Isolation. I
Yeah.
might go on to. I definitely want to on Twitch. I might actually start streaming Arkham Asylum. Like that's definitely something I want because I love that game so
Yeah.
much.
Well, because
But
since you actually edit your videos, I would probably advise against taking on too much.
oh no, yeah, absolutely.
Because
I'm
you
not
see,
gonna do anything until it's like I have time kind of thing.
oh yeah, like because you see what I'm like, and I don't even do editing. I proudly keep my videos raw. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Like
unfortunately, like it's still quite stressful, even with
hmm,
my new scheduling system, which took some pressure off me.
yeah.
So yeah, folks, as you probably know, watching this, I tend to upload like 5 videos for 5 days of the week, from Monday to Friday, and I'm doing 3 Let's Plays. The Dragon Age and the Assassin's Creed ones, not too stressful because I'm doing it quest by quest. Now, however, the Star Wars The Old Republic ones, because of the way the MMO is set up and because how one quest quickly leads into another quest, I have to do it zone by zone, which means every video is roughly an hour long, even though I'm now taking shortcuts in terms of the traveling, which I started doing on Hot. I don't know if those videos have gone live yet, but you'll see, for example, like there'll be moments where I'm about to leave, I'm on my way to a quest location, and then I would pause. Like, what I would do is I would pause the recording, get to the location near the location, I would unpause the recording, and then carry on from there. So to you guys, it looks like I'm teleporting instantaneously, but it's typically a full day of recording for me to get
Yeah.
all 5 videos recorded. Because again, it is again even with the edits, it's still reaching an hour per episode,
Oh, absolutely. Like it's
and
yeah.
like that is 5 hours
Mm.
while I'm trying to then balance fucking my responsibilities, and now we have these 2 videos that we're now doing.
Yeah. Oh god, this is gonna be fun because I'm clocking in at 4 hours now, both
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
terms of
We
video
should
and
wrap this.
audio.
We should wrap this up now.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so
So a little
I
behind
hope.
the scenes though is nice for people like
Yeah, yeah.
people whoever's sticking with us for the 3 hours and 30 minutes. You got a little bit of a behind the scenes at SkullDuggery Gaming and the Celtic Nerd.
Yeah. Like, because like when I'm recording gameplay footage, like with the alien isolation footage that a lot of people watching this will see, you've got a sneak preview of episode 3, by the way, for most of you. But the 3 episodes, including the 2 I've already published, they're all based off of a 2-hour gameplay session I did. So I've just been
Yeah,
editing them consecutively to
yeah.
shorten. I still don't know if I can go beyond like 20 something minutes on my videos, so I'm trying to make sure I keep them as like 20 minutes or slightly underneath, just to
Yeah,
be on the
you're
safe
trying
side.
to keep them to be somewhat bite-sized.
Well, not just that. It's just that the last time I tried to publish anything longer than 15 minutes, YouTube told me to go fuck myself.
Really, I rarely have any issue doing my fucking
I
story to code
think, I
videos.
think, I think it's changed now. I think as long as you have a verified Google account, I think you can publish for longer than 15 minutes, which I
Ah,
have. So I think because I again my last Alien Isolation upload was like 22 minutes long, and it was fine. So I think I can start publishing longer now. So hopefully I'll tweak some of the audio stuff for this when I publish it. But hopefully I can get like the full 3 to 4 hours of this
if you need to
uploaded.
make a three parts,
Yeah,
or
worst
four for
come
you.
worst comes to worst, that'll probably be what I have to do. I'm hoping it doesn't have to, but I quite like because I do like long form discussion. Like I've told you before, like there's
Yeah.
a group I watch called Every Frame of Pause, and they do similar stuff. Like they will spend like hours talking about like one scene from a film and just break,
Mm.
well, not hours, but like they'll spend a lengthy time like talking about like the
Oh
first
yeah.
5 minutes of a film, and it's always fun. And that's what I like about this, like
And again,
especially.
like yeah, it's like again, it's because like we're talking about this the topic, but also like we're organically discussing we're like sorry, the discussion is very organic as opposed to
Yeah.
like because we're like folks we're like no all the 3 hours and 30 minutes that, sorry 3 hours and 40 minutes that we spent discussing all the shit that we have been talking about, like, you know, again, majority of it was the Alien franchise,
Yeah.
like none of this, we do not have like notes in front of us,
Yeah.
like we all we did for this video was watch the Alien movie today. Now
Mhm.
obviously we did not watch them together because unfortunately we do not live close enough to each other to hang out
Yeah, no,
for
no.
that
We,
type of
we we
stuff.
watched it in our own time.
Yeah. Mind you, oh god, if we were close enough, we could actually do some Lewis bar. We could actually record fucking footage for Lewis bar.
That'd be grand,
Yeah,
actually.
that would be very fucking handy. But anyway,
Mm.
um, but yeah, we watched the movies. We then tried to set up a call
Yeah.
via Discord.
Provided Discord doesn't fuck over.
Yeah, there was about 30 minutes of us trying to get Discord to work, and then Google to get Google Chat to work,
Yeah.
and then we just start talking.
Mm. And
That's it.
yeah,
That was the process for this video.
and that's it. And I will say I will say this has been a nice reprieve from just recording gameplay. I will say, even though I did enjoy our Fire Team
Oh yeah,
playthrough as well, which I will be releasing. I think maybe once I'm done with the Alien Isolation stuff, I'll probably edit that footage again.
yeah.
But I would also love to play that game with you again because it's
Oh yeah,
so
no, we
fun,
will. We'll
so fun.
probably play some more to get some new
Um,
footage.
not just that, just in general, it's a
Oh, yeah.
fun game.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It
Uh,
is a fun game, mind you. Again, hopefully, once I pay for my tickets to you
mhm.
know where,
Yeah,
I am hoping to get my hands on Space Marine 2.
same. That
Oh,
looks amazing, and I
I saw some of the customization you can do,
oh,
and I'm like, yes.
the Warhammer lover inside you is like, yes.
Because like again, like that's because like see when I play 40k, I don't build a pre-made army. I build my chapter, my legion. Like I'm not playing fucking like okay. I use Alpha Legion rules for my army, but they are not Alpha Legion. They're not painted like Alpha Legion. They are the Shadow Spartans.
Yeah,
They are painted black with red trim, and I only paint my army's insignia on them, which again is just the simple like like arrow point that Spartans had on their shields. It's that, but I do not paint that on them until they get a kill in battle. Like I
right.
have lore for my army, and but like and again, I have a Raven Guard army. I actually do have a loyalist army. Okay, I say loyalist, but like I do have a Space Marine army. But like I even wrote lore. They're called the Shadow Shrikes, and they are basically secretly Alpha Legion. So like yeah, like that. So I love the customization aspect of 40k, and the fact that I saw images of it in Space Marine 2, I'm like, yeah, Shadow Strikes. I'm making my Shadow Strike character. So like, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh.
But yeah, like, so maybe we'll get eventually footage of. Unfortunately, I don't know if we probably maybe we'll do a video if we both get because like you're planning on getting an Xbox Series X.
Yeah, mostly for the Game Pass because there's a few old school games that even though they're on PC, they don't run well. So I want to get the Game Pass so I can
Oh, okay,
actually
so you wouldn't
experience
get
them.
Space Marine on Xbox.
No, I'm gonna get Space Marine on the PC. Yeah.
Okay, so you trust your PC. I
Well,
don't.
I mean, I built it specifically so it could run Cyberpunk, and it didn't burst into flames then.
Oh,
So,
okay, yeah.
like,
If it can run Cyberpunk, wait,
well,
what?
I'm pretty sure with it because I upgraded the graphics card and the power supply recently because my PC.
Oh
For
yeah,
those
I
of you that don't
remember.
know, the reason why I had such a bit of a hiatus from uploading, first of all, life got in the way. Secondly, I wanted to start uploading as soon as I could, but my PC decided, no, I'm gonna just you can fuck off now. So I had to wait
How high
until
of a graphic settings is the Cyberpunk?
Cyberpunk, I haven't checked actually. I'll have to double check that later. But I
Because
do know
if you didn't tweak it, then it defaults to whatever your engine's capable of.
oh yeah, no, like personally, I did kind of lower it because I just as much as I trust the PC I built, I still wanted to be on the air and the side of caution.
Fair
But
enough.
I feel a bit more comfortable with particularly because I think I tried recently what's it Sea of Thieves, and I turned because the water
Oh
effects in
God,
that
the
game
war. Yeah,
it hasn't been known to cause many a console to turn into an oven, but
yeah.
it ran that fine with the high detail on it, so I think it can handle Cyberpunk. I'm
Again,
probably not going to
the
turn RTX on though.
the only critique I have of Sea of Thieves is the goddamn like you cannot reliably play. If you have a group of friends that is more than fucking four, you're fucked.
Really?
Yeah, because you can't if you have a max crew on a server, you can't invite your friends to play with you. Like,
Oh shit!
yeah, the galleon is the largest ship you can play on, and if your friends try to join you, if your friends played clicked play as well, they will be booted to a different server on their own galleon.
Oh, that's
So
stupid.
yeah, now mind you, they do have workarounds with private servers, but the thing
Yeah,
is though,
which
but you cannot progress on
you
the
can't
private
progress
server.
in private servers.
No,
Oh, that's bullshit. Because I really don't like the community in
like
public servers.
see like and now again the reason why they explained why they don't want people to invite like their friends to be on multiple ship crews on one server is because they don't want like the PvP players to essentially invite all their basically to have an armada attacking people who are just trying to play the game.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I'd rather have a private server that was just your friends only, so you could all just explore the game yourself, kind of
Which you
thing.
can
But
do, but it's just that you won't progress. You can save tall tale progression, and you do not level up your faction alliance.
I know, and that's what I mean. Like, so that's kind of stupid because then I have no choice but to go into public servers with friends, and then like when I'm having fun, just be interrupted by a bunch of assholes that decided, hey, we're
Yeah,
just going to interrupt your day,
but
and it's
imagine if if groups of them imagine if there were eight asshole players,
yeah,
and four of them were on galleons. Sorry, eight of them were on two different galleons hunting you down.
yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, that's a good point.
that's the reason why they're like, okay, yeah, no. But again, at the same time, it would then lead, like for me, my friends who are a group of like six, to be
Mm.
on two brigs, defending each other, helping each other out. Like so, yeah, it would make PvP a bit more risky, but it would also create stories of players banding together to defend one another.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, I can see their logic of why they didn't want to do it because if it could potentially lead to the PvP players outnumbering PvE players, but like at the same time, having that extra advantage for the PvE players, if they do manage to have a group of friends, could
Mm.
then encourage them to try the PvP
Mm.
when they're forced to defend themselves.
Yeah.
So, anyway, maybe one day they'll pull a GTA Online where you can progress your shit in private
When you're
servers,
yeah, and you're
because
just with
you
friends.
used to not be able to do that in GTA Online. In GTA Online, you could only progress your business stuff if you were playing in a public server. But then they were like,
Really?
"Yep." But then at some point they were like, "You know what? Nope."
There's too many griefers.
Yeah, so from now on, you can progress your stuff on your private servers, which
Yeah.
I'm like, yay, but I can't accomplish anything because I need people,
Yeah.
and
It's
unfortunately, I have no one to play GTA Online with.
yeah, I kind of like I have GTA 5. I'll happily go online with you, but it's one of those things where I'm just like, oh, it's for public service. It's just the
Oh
worst.
yeah, but again, I would do this on. I would be playing on the private server,
Oh, same. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm more than
and
happy to do that.
I'm glad they lifted the ban on the private server stuff.
Yeah.
Thank God. Anyway,
Ugh. Yeah.
so yeah,
Um.
again, there's reasons why we do things the way we do them on
Yeah.
for our channels.
Oh god. Absolutely. Yeah. It's. Oh
Like
god.
me trying to do 20 videos a fucking week uh, is
Yeah.
pretty exhausting. Which I might be cutting that down to 15, sorry, to 17 videos a week. Hold on. No, 25 videos. Sorry, it was 25 videos a week for me. But it might be
Jesus.
cut down to 17 because, folks, these like nerd talks, because of how long they are, where I'm probably going to dedicate a day to this, like to this video. So this video will be going. If you're watching this, it's the day, so it'll be
Yeah.
Tuesday. I keep forgetting I'm no longer streaming.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this on Tuesday, Tuesday will be dedicated to whatever, like to the side chat, and then Monday will be dedicated to the Ludo chat, and then
Woo.
Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will be dedicated to my Let's Plays. So yeah, so there you go. I'm the Celtic Nerd.
I have been Skull.
Your name